No responsibilities, just all your friends, burgers sizzling, hot dogs cooking, Pepsi Zero Sugar fizzing, and a backyard of very, very happy people. Oh yeah, we could get used to this. Very, very used to this. Grilling, better with Pepsi.
For a limited time, get 2 20-ounce Pepsis for only $4.25 at Refuel. So hurry in and enjoy an ice-cold Pepsi today.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Everything for the exterior of your home, but it's also everything for the peace of mind of the customer. Talk to me about the trust factor and everything else that you guys offer.
I got to tell you, I think one of the biggest things for us is we don't take any payment from you for any of your home improvement needs until we're done with the project. I hear stories all the time about people putting down deposits with companies, 25, 50% of the project total overall, and they don't even know, they don't show up.
Right.
You've lost whatever percentage you put down, that's how much power you lost already. Right? So with us, you pay nothing until we're done. Typically we're not the least expensive, and we're certainly not the most expensive. You get 3 or 4 estimates, we're going to fall right there in the middle. But, you're going to have a warranty that's lifetime, transferable for 10 years on any of the products we sell typically. And we've been around since 1961. You can trust us. We've been around forever.
It is about trust, and I think you guys are the most trustworthy business that I know. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at renofi.com/notices. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
John, I'm putting my foot down. We can't put off renovating this house any longer. Our kitchen is so small. We need to finish the basement for the kids, and don't even get me started on the bathrooms.
Honey, renovating is so expensive. We can't do all those projects.
With Renofi, we can.
What's Renofi?
Renofi loans are a new type of home equity loan only for homeowners doing renovations. We can get up to $500,000 and keep our existing low mortgage rate locked in.
With Renofi, we can do everything on our renovation list and we don't have to refinance?
That's right. Renofi loans are the only home equity loan that use the after renovation value.
Just what we need. How do we get started with Renofi?
Just send them a text.
Text TRANSFORM to 323232 and see if you qualify for up to $500,000 to renovate your home with Renofi. Unlock the future value of your home right now to get the money you need without refinancing. Text the word TRANSFORM to 323232 to get started today. Text TRANSFORM to 323232.
NMLS number 1802847. Not all borrowers or properties qualify. Loan terms apply.
Paid family leave? That prevents child abuse.
And access to health care in every community
prevents child abuse too.
And high quality, affordable child care.
School breakfast and lunch programs.
Affordable housing for everyone.
Go to preventchildabuse.org to learn more.
Triangle Area Trading Cards is trading up, moving across the street to a big new location. Come to the grand opening party Saturday, August 3rd from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. You'll have $5,000 worth of giveaways, including store credits, hobby boxes, booster boxes, singles, and more. No purchases necessary to win. It's a great chance to see the inventory and trade for sports and TCG cards all day long. Details, find them on Facebook and Insta at Triangle Area Trading Cards.
This hour of buzzer-beating, nail-biting, edge-of-your-seat sports action on 99.9 The Fan is powered by
Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
This is the Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
As I turn my attention to the year ahead, I must directly address the ongoing disputes with 2 of our members about the contracts they each signed twice and whether they will honor those agreements. With multiple ongoing legal cases, there are limits to what I can say, but I can state that we will fight to protect the ACC and our members for as long as it takes. We are confident in this league and that it will remain a premier conference in college athletics for the long-term future.
Good afternoon and welcome to Charlotte. We are at the Uptown Hilton, right in the lobby, clogging up space, creating traffic, and we are here for ACC football kickoff. I warned you yesterday. This is the Adam Gold Show. Victoria is back in the studio. Dennis Cox is making sure you can hear me on site. We have a lot to do today. So thank you for hanging out. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. The trip down last night was eventful. Trains that go 10 miles an hour aren't much better than walking. I think I could have walked to Charlotte at about the same
that would
same
have been a
rate.
story.
So it took you a minute.
Yeah, it did. We got to town. I could have gone to the soccer game
Oh, no.
See, I didn't go to City Celtic, go Celtic 4-3 over the four-time defending champion Premier League winners. But I didn't go because I wanted to get here, take the train down, the whole thing, comfortable, except that I could have gone to the match and driven to Charlotte.
Yeah, there was like a lightning delay and everything yesterday, apparently.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, so we're here. Nobody cares. We got some time on the train to answer some questions about the Hurricanes because I had all the time in the world and I had internet access. So why not? But we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We'll have as much fun. We have, let's see, who's coming by. Tom Luginbill from ESPN will be here. Eric McLean is going to sit down with us here in just a couple of minutes. We've got Wes Durham is going to be here. E.J. Manuel, former Florida State quarterback, now with the ACC Network. And others will also introduce you to a couple of dudes who play for Wake Forest. So we got a lot to do. Let's do it. And you can always join us on YouTube. That's right. Profile picture, but I'll wave to the camera because I can do that. Although, is the camera good?
Yes.
All right. So, hi everybody. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria is back at the ranch. So we're going to talk a lot about ACC football and all that, but let me just set that aside for a second, and let's just say the Panthers are going to the Super Bowl. You ready for that, Victoria?
I'm beyond ready, but don't disappoint me.
they're going to the Super Bowl.
Then we wake up.
First 7-on-7 drills. Bryce Young, 4 out of 4. Brilliant. Andy Dalton was, I think, 1 for 4 with an interception, and that interception was a pick six. So we know who the quarterback is. Bryce Young, way better than Andy Dalton. Let's get this thing going. Everybody's obviously very excited. So let's let you hear a little bit from Bryce Young and others. What about the pressure going into year 2?
I don't feel like, for me, I guess I don't look at it as pressure from outside things. I think really for us, it's making sure we can be the best we can be every day and then accomplish our goals throughout the year. And that's a big picture thing. And it's not something that's really gonna change. We can't get that done tomorrow. We're not gonna be able to get it done next week. It's gonna be throughout the year. So because of that, I try to keep my focus on just the small stuff, what I can do right now. We have a meeting in however many minutes, trying to make sure we're locked in for that. I'm locked in for that. So I think that's kind of the mindset. And because of that, you don't really feel, I don't really feel the overhanging pressure or whatever it is that it may come from the outside. So I guess that's kind of my approach towards it.
He's too distracted by everything else to feel pressure. There's a lot going on. It's the hardest position to play in sports, right? To be an NFL quarterback. That's why even the mediocre ones make like $40 million a year, because it is that difficult a thing to do. All right, what about the systems? He's coming from whatever Frank Reich and that smorgasbord of options to Dave Canales offense.
I think there's for sure some differences in our system. Again, for me, it's trying to do everything I can to execute for the system, and it's a different system this year. So there's some different stuff footwork-wise that we didn't do last year. There's different philosophies with things. So I think there's a lot of similarities. There's differences as well, and really it just all stems from what we're being coached to do this year.
All right, let's move on to one quick thing. It's sort of off the field. It has, but somebody who has been in his shoes is Cam Newton. Now, they were much larger shoes because Cam is like 2 people.
Big.
Yes, very. So what does Bryce has spoken with Cam?
Yeah, I've had a couple of exchanges with Cam. We've talked multiple times, and I'm grateful for for just obviously he's been here, he's done great things here. So I've tried to pick his brain about some things, and I'm grateful for his support. I'm grateful for him obviously still caring so much about the organization, about the city. So yeah, that's someone obviously growing up I have a ton of respect for now. I had a ton of respect for growing up. Love to watch him play. So just anytime I get to ask questions, and we've had a couple of conversations, so that's been great.
I don't know how it's going to work out ultimately in the long run. But I know that when we've talked to Darren Gant, he is fully on board with Cam Newton, Hall of Famer. Not Panthers Hall of Famer. Cam Newton, Hall of Famer. I fall just short of that because the body of work really was only about, 8 years, 9 years?
Short.
So it's hard to put that in the Hall of Fame. He did win the MVP. He was an absolute game-changing quarterback. Just ask him. He would be in that category. Remember how much controversy that created last year.
Yeah, game manager, game changer.
Right. I don't think what he said was wrong about that, by the way. And he also tried to make it very simple that game manager doesn't mean you're not really good, right? So there are a lot of quarterbacks who would fall into the category of game manager who are really good. Dak Prescott. He's not a game changer, which is why I wouldn't pay him $60 million. But he is more of a game manager. So, I think Cam has a lot to say. He just says it in a funny way. And if you check out his YouTube show, more power to you. All right, the new guy, Jadeveon Clowney. So here's about the Panthers trade Brian Burns to the Giants. They got, I think, a bag of footballs and some movie coupons. And Jadeveon Clowney comes in as a free agent. Clowney was a former first overall pick. He has been a very good player for a pretty long time in the NFL. And now he's sort of coming home where he played in South Carolina. And he has to balance two things. He is kind of that wise vet, but he's also a new guy.
I don't think it's hard. I know what I'm capable of doing, and I've been around a lot of great guys over my career, so I kind of picked it up off of them guys, and I just feel like at this point in my career, I'm here to help them and, be here and just be that ear for them and try to give them every advice I can get them because I got a lot of it because I've been in the game a lot, and everybody have gave me advice over my career. So anytime they ask me something, I just give it to them straightforward and tell them, man, it's a work day. It's always work. That's what comes first. So come here and work, and everything else should fall in place.
All right, so he is one of the most important players on the defensive side of the football for the Panthers because they do have to replace what Burns gave them, and that was a very good player at edge rusher. I think ESPN was doing their rankings of the best players at every position in the NFL. And Brian Burns was ranked 10th among edge rushers, which I think is fairly accurate. I think he is one of the, in that area, in anywhere from 8 to 12 among edge rushers in the league, which brings us back to the conversation that we have had over and over and over again. Why did you overrate that player to think that he was some sort of a game changer? He's a really good player. A really good player. Certainly wasn't in the TJ Watt category, and I think that's the way the Panthers viewed him a couple of years ago, which is why they a team that was shedding players to build draft capital, why they didn't trade him is, again, just staggering to me. Anyway, so Clowney is going to be a big deal for them. Let's quickly wrap up the Panthers with the general manager, Dan Morgan, who is not even thinking about wins and losses at this point.
I'm not going to put any expectations on anything right now. What I do know is that there's a lot of work ahead of us, not only from a personnel standpoint, but the players. The players know that they got to put the work in out there. We have a lot of new players that got to gel together out there and become a team. So in terms of playoffs, we'll reach that, when we're ready. But I think right now we're focused on today, tomorrow, and just trying to get better as a team and as an organization.
All right, one of the things, I was having this conversation, I guess it might have been when I was on with WFNZ this morning, and they drew a comparison. It's not a like for like, but when Rod Brindamore took over as head coach of the Hurricanes, at the very beginning of that season, there weren't many people who said, this is a playoff team. There were good pieces there, obviously, but nobody said, "Yeah, this is a playoff team." And halfway through the season, they certainly weren't. If you went back and looked at it, the game prior to New Year's Eve, which I think was December 30th, they actually, going into that game, they were 2 games under NHL 500. That's not a playoff team. From there on in, they were one of the best teams in hockey and made the playoffs. But what I'm saying is, for the first half of that year, Rod Brindamore just preached process. It was all about setting a standard for how they were going to approach every day, every game, all of that. Not really worried about what are the results, but here are the things we have to do to achieve the results we want to achieve down the road. It was always more of a long-term thing, building like a series of habits, building that culture, which creates it. And I think that's what Dan Morgan is talking about. And I believe that's what they're trying to build. And the wins will come. Look, the roster in and of itself isn't good enough. We all know that. We're not dumb. The roster, I mean, could you luck out and the rest of the division is also weak and win 8 games and win the division? Yeah. But it'd be hard. If the Panthers won 8 games, I would almost not care. Because 8 games, I think, would be a remarkable achievement for this team. All right, real quick, I want to get to a couple of narratives that we're going to be talking about through ACC Kickoff, and then we're going to bring up our conversation with Eric McLean of the ACC Network. So we're at Operation Kickoff. This is where narratives start, right? What is the ACC? I heard Jim Phillips say it yesterday. The Conference of Quarterbacks. 8 of the starting 32 quarterbacks in the NFL hail from ACC schools. And yes, 2 of them are from Cal, Aaron Rodgers and Jared Goff. ACC legends, find the lie. But we have, in the past, been very good at the quarterback position, and I don't think that's any different this year. That doesn't mean you have a ton of future NFL quarterbacks. I'm not sure the ACC has a ton of future NFL quarterbacks, but they have a lot of good college quarterbacks. Whether it's Grayson McCall at NC State remains to be seen. Which of the quarterbacks at UNC are ultimately going to, be the guy? I think they'll end up using maybe all 3, 2 of which are here at ACC Kickoff, and we'll talk to actually both of them tomorrow. Carolina brought 2 quarterbacks. That is just fantastic. But we do have a lot of good quarterbacks, including Cam Morin. Came from Washington State, is now at Miami. You've got McCall. We still have Cade Klubnik. We have DJ Uiagalelei at Florida State by way of Oregon State from Clemson. So there's a lot of quarterbacks that we know the name of. How will they perform? All of that. But that's the Conference of Quarterbacks. The ACC's got the toughest non-conference schedule of any of the 4 power leagues, and they talked about that extensively. And here's my who cares face. Because, and maybe you're tired of hearing this, and if you are, I apologize. It doesn't really matter. The only thing that matters is winning. And if you're the league who is trying to break through and create this narrative that we are better than you think, the only way to show people that you are better than you think, this is the sad part about college football, because nobody cares who you played. It matters to us. It matters to people who are like, how good are they really? But ultimately, what is your record? That's the only thing that people care about. And it's the only thing that the people who vote care about. What is your record? So when they say the ACC's got the toughest non-conference schedule, I've got the numbers. They will play 27 non-conference Power 4 games. 27. What is that? With 17 teams in the league, that's 1.5 per school. That's a half more than it needs to be. On top of that, there's a bunch of group of 5 games against good, losable group of 5 games, by the way. Good competition. Florida State's got to play Memphis. Memphis might go, 11-1 this year. Maybe better if they could beat Florida State. So, yeah, schedule at your own peril. Schedule to win games. I love NC State's schedule. Absolutely love NC State's schedule. They've got the game against Tennessee. The other 3 non-conference games, 2 of them are group of 5 teams that you could lose to, I guess, but you'd have to do a lot of work. So schedule wins. Please schedule wins. Other stuff that we'll get into, the ACC needs a Paul Feinbaum. Maybe that'll come up with Eric McLean. Would he make a good Paul Feinbaum? Anyway, and we'll talk about the games that will decide the championship and that will help shape the narrative over whether or not the ACC is a top 3 Power 4 league. With all of that said, it's time to get this thing cranked up. We're at ACC football kickoff with the next Paul Feinbaum. Eric McLean of the ACC Network.
I'm like 6 Paul Feinbaums, okay?
So,
you got to put that guy together.
Wait a second. Hey, similar hairlines. I'm with you.
No, mine's way farther back.
That is true.
His stop's right here. He needs to just cut it all
Well, he
off.
should. He should just come home like all of us.
Yes.
So that narrative makes me laugh because it's a 7-year-old conversation.
Sure.
But they're acting like that's the issue with like the ACC Network or like so. I want you to be it now.
Yeah.
You can be the ACC Network's Paul Feinbaum.
Okay.
Can you do that?
What am I talking about?
Why the ACC is great. Why?
Oh yeah. We are. That's what we do, baby.
All of
That's
that.
what we do.
So can we start last year? Florida State was screwed, right?
Oh sure. Yeah, 100%.
Well,
100%.
How come there weren't enough people talking about how we had a Power 5 team that lost their starting quarterback?
Yeah.
And then they were judged on their third-string quarterback because that's what they were talking about. That's why Florida State, look what their offense. I'm like, how about their defense? How about just rewarding what they did for the season? And by the way, they won the ACC championship game with their third-string quarterback.
Yeah, it was fascinating. And hurtful. Because you feel for those guys. I think what's interesting about where we are, what we do, we're very intimate with this league. Obviously, we do things like this. We know these guys. It's not just that's a player with a helmet and a jersey.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's Jared Verse. That's Braden Fisk. That's Jordan Travis. And we know these guys. We talk with them. Off record, on record, whatever. And so you feel horrible. For them. And I think at the end of the day, I can scream and shout as loud as I want. But
yes,
those folks in that room made that decision, and we changed playoff rules this year. They will never be held accountable for that. It's over. Like it'll never happen again.
Right.
And there's no opportunity for it to ever happen again. So super unfortunate. It's hard to even explain. I couldn't imagine that, in 15, if Deshaun got hurt and we're clearly that team, one of those teams, and that would be taken. I don't know. It's horrible.
It was unfair, disrespectful with all the players. And then they were judged in the loss to Georgia in the Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a second. You knew like 28 players.
I'm shocked that they played, to be honest.
I agree.
I thought that they weren't going to play.
I thought they would beg out.
Yeah.
I actually talked about it. I supported like, why even go?
I know.
Why even go? Why be part of the system that just completely
fascinating.
Eric McLean, not only ACC Network, but Gramlich and McLean podcast.
Come on.
How many? This is like 1,400 episodes. How many episodes of this now?
We're a little over 400, which is awesome. We don't do every day, so that would add up quick. It's sweet, man, and we've got an awesome kind of series coming out. All 17 head coaches, all 17 teams previews. For the first time ever, we're going 5 days a week for 3 straight weeks. It's going to be so fun. I can't wait.
That's like real work.
It's real work. It's real work. I don't get paid anymore, but we're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. It's fun. It's going to be really cool.
So your conversation with Dave Doran, it's playoff or bust. No,
I didn't quite phrase it that way.
Okay,
but that's about how I think about it. At least, how about 10 wins or bust? Because whatever, championship game, all that stuff's hard. You got to do it. This schedule. Take advantage of it. The people you've brought in, the influx of talent so quickly, of like known commodity. This is, I don't have any questions about who they brought in. I know what they are and what they can do, what they've done. You've got a 10,000-yard passer. You got Jordan Waters, that is an animal. Yeah. And that quite frankly, that running game that has been non-existent since I've been on the network, that has to be supercharged when you have a guy like that. Healthy offensive line. Hollywood, I believe, from Oklahoma comes in as well. And then receiver. My gosh. I mean, first of all, you have KC, monster, arguably the best in the conference. You add in Noah Rogers, 5-star, freak show that,
Raleigh kid.
Comes home. Unfortunately, couldn't get on the field with 20 first-round draft picks at Ohio State. He comes home. Joe Lee from UConn. Just dudes.
Yeah.
And so now KC can flourish naturally. It doesn't have to be force-fed. We got to get this guy 30 touches. It's just within the offense. And like I said about McCall, you have this point guard, Chris Paul-like guy that knows how to distribute it, knows how to get it out. I think I don't know if I want to say uneducated, but the further away fan might just look at it and say, hey, Peyton Wilson's gone. This defense is going to be horrible. Tony Gibson's still there. The guy calling the shots is one of the best, if not the best, around. And they've got pieces. They've got guys waiting. So certainly there's not quite the star power of the best defensive player in the world.
Right.
But there's guys that are ready, for their time.
I still can't believe that the Panthers drafted a linebacker.
Yeah, you can.
With
you know why you can? Because they're the Panthers.
Yes. I was trying to avoid slamming. I just couldn't believe it. You took a linebacker. You took an inside linebacker. With him on the board, I think
what was their record? What was their record this year?
Yeah,
and they didn't have the first overall pick, huh? They traded them.
Oh my God! That's what we're doing here.
Worked out.
Look, it's deserved. Eric McLean, ACC Network, is joining us here. Let me talk about your guys. You played at Clemson. You were a conference champion. So, what's their outlook? How does their offense get more dynamic?
Yeah.
Because that's really what's held them back.
Sure.
Not being able to put tons of points on the board. Right. And I was talking to Tom Luginbill, who's actually going to run that interview in a couple minutes. He said when he was on the field for Clemson Duke, the beginning of the season, he went, Duke looks more athletic and faster.
Mm-hmm.
How does Clemson turn that back around?
Well, I think, first of all, receiver health is a major thing. Like they have been ridiculed with injuries.
Yeah.
It seems like the last 3-4 seasons of guys that they thought were game changers, and just could never stay or be on the field. Those guys are all healthy, right? Antonio Williams, I've heard, is in the best shape of his life, leading like a madman, and ready to take a massive step. That was a freshman All-American,
right?
You look at our guy Troy Stellato, who has just been killed with injuries his whole career. Was a guy that Ohio State wanted bad, that Clemson got instead of. We saw flashes of him last year, stepped up in a massive way. Tyler Brown, freshman All-American last year, fine, healthy, ready to go.
Right.
Adam Randall, massive wide receiver, has never been able to be on the field consistently. We saw him in the Kentucky game, what he was able to do, that big body receiver that Clemson made a staple. That's the start. Okay, having those guys ready. And, oh, by the way, Brenningstool, dynamic as they come, tight end in the ACC. Cade has to take a step.
Yeah.
And he's going from year 1 to year 2. And we all know that's where you see a massive amount of growth, or potentially the massive amount of growth. And he's also going to be in year 2 with the same coordinator. So, to me, man, all of that added up. You need a little luck, but you also need to study and get better. There's a real chance. I think Maffa's going to be dynamic. I think the offensive line, again, health. They're getting Marcus Tate back. I think they're going to be much better. Blake Miller is talked about as a first-round draft pick prospect at tackle. So it just takes that, right? Because when you turn the ball over on the 1-yard line 5 times going in for a touchdown, whether that's against Duke or Florida State or whoever, you can't win. You can't beat those guys when you're doing that. And so you eliminate that. Defense is going to be elite. I mean, those guys are going to be disgusting.
They're always elite.
I think, real. I mean, I'm talking about top 5 in the country at least. I think they'll be fine. Eric
McLean, more than fine. Tell Kelly I said hi.
I will.
Talk to you during the season.
Great to see you
nice
in person,
to see you too.
brother.
All right, man.
Thank you guys for having me.
You got it.
You be good.
Why can't Eric be the Paul Feinbaum of the ACC? No, we don't need a Paul Feinbaum of these. We've had this conversation anyway. But we will get into the nuts and bolts of football, the perception of the league, who's good, quarterbacks, all of that with somebody who knows, Tom Luginbill of ESPN, Wes Durham's new partner, who will also be with us, by the way, at 1 o'clock. That'll be Wes Durham time. Tom Luginbill time is next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The college football season is here, and 99.9 The Fan will be live from Charlotte for ACC Football Kickoff. Touchdown, Carolina! Adam, Tim, and the crew will huddle up with your favorite players and coaches from Carolina, Duke, and State.
Concepcion, he's got it! Touchdown, Wolfpack!
Join us for ACC Football Kickoff live from Charlotte on 99.9 The Fan.
Duke thumps the Tigers!
Driven by Wilkinson Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC, and Sanford. Visit WilkinsonCars.com.
Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. You know, the Olympics are right around the corner, and there are a lot of sports that you have never, ever watched in the Olympics. And you can wager on some of them. So why not? Rugby sevens, awesome. All at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, we're hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily, every day. Something for everyone. Head over to FanDuel.com/AdamGold, FanDuel.com/AdamGold, and start enjoying the Olympics even more than you ever have. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook for a reason. 21 or over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Wager requirements apply. Bonuses awarded as non-withdrawable bonus bets or profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including bonus expiration. See terms and conditions at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
This is Pre-Tection. Yep, Pre-Tection. The everyday skin protection ritual that protects your skin from mosquitoes. Pre-barbecue. Pre-playground. Pre-everything. Pre-every day. Prevention is the best protection. This summer, make sure you have OFF, the #1 dermatologist-recommended repellent brand. SC Johnson, a family company.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loan, and personal loans. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value is way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. Call now, 919-381-1760, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
Feeling the heat this summer? Cool down with this hot offer from Family Fare. Right now, pick up 2 icy cold 28-ounce Gatorades and get one free. Whether you're battling the sun at the work site, working out, or working on your tan, stay fueled and hydrated with Gatorade from Family Fare. You'll find lots of flavors to choose from in summer's best deal. So stock up on your favorite Gatorades today and all summer long at Family Fare. Buy 2 Gatorades, get one free is only for a limited time. So rush to your nearest Family Fare now. Family Fare, first in thirst.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing, made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories, all without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver, all the taste, no bitter endings. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew, 30 seconds, that's it. Done. Peace.
This is Adam Gold.
North Carolinians wagered $659,308,541 on sports.
It's a little bit.
Treat it as entertainment only. Just look at it as fun.
The Adam Gold Show.
And we are at ACC Football Kickoff here in Charlotte with ESPN's Tom Luginbill. You get to work with Wes Durham this year.
Well, not only do I get to work with Wes Durham, and it's interesting because he and I have done so many things over the years together, and then now we're finally being put on a regular package, right? So if I can pull them off the golf course, we might have a shot to be a pretty good broadcast team.
Yeah, this he gets it. He fits it in now.
Oh yeah, no, well he fits it in all the time.
Does he?
I think so.
Well, he hides it well because he is among the hardest working people I know, and I've known Wes such a long time. I think you guys are going to be great. Let's dig into we could just start big picture. What the ACC has been fighting a perception problem. For some reason, they were fighting it in basketball the last couple of years, which is silly with all the Final Four teams and the Elite Eight teams, and as though they pretend every year that stuff doesn't matter.
Sure,
except it kind of does.
Yeah,
it'd be like saying that the SEC, if in a down year puts 2 teams in the playoff, like, well, it wasn't that good. Yeah, but so how does the ACC get out of a perception problem? I mean, it's got to be like NC State, Tennessee, Miami, Florida, right? Maybe even Florida State, Notre Dame.
No question. Florida. How about Florida State, Memphis?
That's right.
Because Memphis is the dark horse group of 5 team, right? Like they got 20 starters back. They could be an 11-1 type of team for the college football playoffs. So that's a big one too. And I think you hit the nail on the head. You've got to win the games that everybody's questioning whether or not you can, right? And you know what? To be honest with you, in fairness, the ACC's done a pretty decent job of that the last couple of years, particularly with Florida State, obviously, the Texas A&M Miami game, a year ago. But then what happens is you have the Miami Georgia Tech fiasco, right? So when you have those moments where you basically check the box and you accomplish the task, you can't fumble all over yourself in week 7 or 8, right? And I think that's the thing is we can talk all we want about winning those non-conference games, but at the end of the day, you have to be really good down the stretch, right? The really good teams that are championship level teams are hot in November. They're playing their best football in November. They're not slipping up against somebody that they shouldn't slip up against. And they're bona fide. And, I've heard this discussion throughout, and I heard it last week at SEC Media Days as well. And here this week, everybody talks about, well, how many playoff caliber teams are there in the ACC? Okay. I think that's the wrong discussion because when you talk about playoff caliber teams, I think about, a playoff caliber, somebody that could actually win the national championship. Well, there's really only 4 to 6 of those teams in the country, right? So let's not talk about.
Well, we have a 12-team playoff.
Yeah, let's not talk about playoff caliber teams. Let's talk about how many teams could get to double-digit wins, or more, because that is what is going to determine whether you are included or excluded. So if I look at the ACC right now and I say Miami, Florida State, NC State, Clemson, and I think Virginia Tech, especially with Virginia Tech's schedule, all 4 to 5 of those teams, if they don't screw it up, are good enough teams to go 10-2 or better. Well, if you do that, you're getting 2 to 3 in the playoff. Right. So the talk shouldn't be about playoff caliber
unless
teams.
your quarterback gets hurt.
Exactly. The talk should be about what is your record going to be that puts you in the conversation. Doesn't mean you can win the national championship. You're not even guaranteed that you're going to win the opening game. But that to me is the real discussion. And I'm a big schedule guy. And I look at 3 things on the schedule. Who do you play? When do you play? And where do you play? All right. So who do you play? All right. That's a really good team. But are they the same team in week 2 as they were in week 10? Because if you switched them, you might have a different outcome. Are you playing that team in a hostile environment, or are you playing them on the road? All right. And then when it comes to who you're playing, are you outmanned? Right. I mean, somebody's going to have to come up with a steal during the season, right? You're going to have to, luck's going to play a role. You're going to have to beat somebody you're not supposed to. All of those things come into play.
Yeah. I mean, just looking, you mentioned NC State. They have a schedule that's set up to succeed.
They do, and Virginia Tech does.
No question about that.
Yeah.
NC State does have to go to Clemson, and they have the game in week 2 against Tennessee.
Sure.
Their trip to Cal later in the – I mean, that might not be the easiest thing in the world because we know Cal's going to be able to run the ball. But for the most part, their home schedule, I mean, if they lose a home game, we got a problem.
And that's on them.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. You can't have those moments happen if you want to be taken seriously. And I say that, and every coach in this building right now knows it. They know. Like they
They
realize,
don't want to talk about it, but they know.
We can't like they're sitting there watching tape on the table. You know what? We're probably better than these guys. And then you go lose to them. Like you can't do that. That's the thing.
Tom Luginbill is joining us here from ESPN. Let's start with Miami because I think Cam Ward is an interesting case. Miami's got tons of talent. They certainly underachieved last year. And maybe they've underachieved the last 2 decades.
Right.
But can he be a transformational player for them?
I think so. And I'll tell you the first thing that I looked at when I saw him jump in and from Incarnate Word to Washington State to Miami, there's one common denominator. He's never had to change schemes.
Okay.
Version of the air raid, version of the air raid, version of the air raid, right? So he's bringing not only a wealth of experience, but the terminology.
Okay.
The knowledge of the theory of the offense and how he can impact other players because of that knowledge of the offense. I go back, and it's not just Cam Ward. Grayson McCall is another example. DJ's another example. But I don't know if do you remember when Matt Rule at Nebraska, it was just after the February signing day, and somebody asked him about, the transfer portal and quarterbacks. And he immediately said, well, you realize it's going to cost $1.5, $2 million for a quarterback.
Right.
My immediate response to that was, how many quarterbacks in the transfer portal have played like $1 million? Yeah. What do you mean you're paying them $1 million? Has they played like $1 million? Right. Well, as it relates to this conference, Cam Ward probably has. Grayson McCall probably has. I wouldn't say DJ has, but he's played a lot.
Played a lot. And he was pretty good at Oregon State last year.
He was pretty good at Oregon State. I think what gets overinflated and under-evaluated is people talk about, well, he had his highest QBR. He had the most yards he's had in the season. He had the most touchdown passes he's had in the season. But he had the lowest completion percentage he's had in his career, right? Well, that's a reflection of accuracy. That's a reflection of making the right decisions, getting the ball where it needs to go, which I think we've all seen has been problematic for him. But he's played a lot. So the incoming transfer quarterbacks in this league, Tyler Shuck has been injured for the vast majority of his career, but when he's played, he's been really, really good. So if Louisville can keep him upright, they're going to be pretty good. So I think that's the thing that makes the quarterbacks in this league that are transfers a bit unique is they've all played well somewhere else. They're not a high-profile recruit that went to one school, was unhappy, transfers in, and now you're saying, okay, well, this guy's going to be the answer, but he hasn't done it yet.
Right.
These guys have all done it.
Let me get to NC State. Grayson McCall, he's the shiny object.
Yeah.
But there's the offensive line is almost all back intact. They should be pretty good.
You got a running back, Casey Concepcion. I mean,
they also some of the transfer receivers who bolstered that group. That was the weakest group.
Yeah.
Running back receiver group for them last year. It became all Casey Concepcion.
Right.
He became their best running back. Then you bring in Jordan Waters from Duke, who is a dynamite between the tackles runner with some burst. Your thoughts on how that offense can be transformational for them?
So I'm really interested to see what Robert Anae is going to do with Grayson McCall. And I say that because I had the opportunity to broadcast a midweek Sunbelt game between Coastal and App State. The last year for Grayson McCall under Jamie Chadwell and the first year under Tim Beck at Coastal last year. Two vastly different offensive approaches. I mean, night and day. So Grayson McCall had come from a spread, option, RPO. That's all he knew.
Right.
And at Coastal last year, they were a little bit more traditional, a little bit more West Coast pro style. They'd have some RPO stuff, this and that. And quite honestly, it was a struggle for him. It's not that he played bad, but you could tell that he wasn't just quite as comfortable because that's not what he had done. And so I'm interested to see if Robert Anae, the offensive coordinator, tries to blend what NC State is on offense with what Grayson McCall does really, really well. And that is RPO, quarterback run, zone read, quarterback power, quarterback counter, just to keep people honest and keep the defense on their heels in the sense that we always have to be aware that the quarterback could be a running threat.
Sure.
And I think you maximize his strengths if you incorporate that into the offense. And I think they're one of the best developmental programs in all of America. And people, they want to make or add a negative connotation when you say developmental. I'd look at it as a compliment. Because in today's day and age, when you can identify somebody and say, we think he's going to be this in 3 years, and he is, that's a talent. And Dave Dorn and his staff have done that for over a decade now.
Yeah, D'Antonio Burnett, the strength and conditioning coach, gets a ton of credit for physically developing as many defensive linemen.
And NFL guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And guys who are still playing on Sundays. Tom Luginbill is joining us here. Can Clemson get back, or has Dabo kind of let the portal world kind of go on without him? Because for the last couple of years, they just haven't had any dynamism at all at receiver.
Right.
And that's a good place to go. I mean, if Florida State can go get dynamic receivers out of the portal, why can't Clemson?
Right.
I think that's held them back as much as anything. Haven't had great quarterback play, to be honest, but maybe those two things are connected.
Yeah. Well, I will say this, and I remember, so I was on the sideline as an analyst for the Clemson Duke game on Labor Day, opening weekend last year.
What a night!
And we're in a commercial break, and I'm talking on my mic to the guys in the booth, Dave Pash and Dusty Dvorak. I say, guys, are my eyes deceiving me, or is Duke faster on defense than Clemson is on offense? We all saw it.
Yeah.
All right, and it was glaring. And Clemson couldn't separate. It couldn't create any explosive plays. Cade was really rattled. I think that their approach, and I will say that I think Dabo he takes a lot of heat for what he says in relationship to the portal, but he's not necessarily wrong. When you have a roster that would be considered, from a talent perspective, you have a roster that would be considered top 5 to 7 in the country overall, which they do.
Sure.
How many players in the transfer portal are actually better than what you currently have? Doesn't mean that there aren't some players that could help you.
Right.
So I understand that criticism. I understand that you could go and say, let's target 1 or 2 guys and see if we can get those guys. He's right in the sense that if there's a really good player, if you've tampered, he's gone. Like, the deal's already done. So he doesn't go into the portal and you say, hey, let's go target that guy. He's gone to the portal. He already knows where he's going, right? So that's a fact. That's reality. I do think that they could do more, but I don't think it has to be to the level that everybody wants it to be. If you had a roster that wasn't very good, then I get bringing in 12 to 15 guys every year or turning over 30 guys. I get that.
Mike Norvell had no choice.
He had no choice. And nobody has hit in the transfer portal better than Mike Norvell from a percentage of success rate. Nobody. Not even Lane Kiffin. Nobody. So I do think, though, at receiver, Clemson brought in 2 freshmen, Bryant Wesco being one of them, that really upgrade their speed and explosiveness. Now, they are freshmen. So obviously you can play at that position. That's the thing. They're faster. That's important. But I also think that Cade Klubnik needs to take that next step, man. I mean, he needs to have a Max Duggan type of year, the year TCU went to the national championship. He has to. And so I'm very much looking forward to, because they're going to be loaded on defense now.
Yeah, they're always
loaded on defense. If they get just a 15 to 20% uptick in offensive production at quarterback and at wideout, they're going to be really good.
Tom Luginbill from ESPN. I thank you very much. Yeah. It's good to meet face to face.
Absolutely.
We'll talk again.
Sounds good, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. When we come back, one-timers plus a bit of Carolina Hurricanes news. Yes, we have Hurricanes news. Ooh. Top of the hour, a true West Day. Wes Durham from ESPN and the ACC Network. He will sit down with us, much like his broadcast partner Tom Luginbill did just now. All right, so when we come back, one-timers and some Hurricanes news. Next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Some call it overplanning. At Alternative Power, we call it foresight. Be prepared for the next power outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power, whether you're home or away. Generac, it's not just a generator, it's a power move. Act now for a free 10-year warranty on a Generac home standby generator. Terms and conditions apply. See more at alternativepower.com. Alternative Power, North Carolina's Generac experts.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. old days are being made right now.
The new Bluebell Cookies and Cream Cheesecake is cheesecake ice cream with chocolate cookie-crusted cheesecake pieces and chocolate cream-filled cookies. Again, cheesecake ice cream with chocolate cookie-crusted cheesecake pieces and chocolate cream-filled cookies. Buy two.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
Are you taking care of someone on Medicare? Navigating Medicare can be overwhelming. You're not alone. The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program can help you figure out what steps to take and when. SHIP counselors can answer your questions. Visit ncship.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
Everyone goes through tough times, and everyone can get through them, as long as they don't have to do it alone. Dial 988 if you need someone to talk to. Get what you need to get to a better place. Together, we'll find the care that works best for you. We're here 24/7. Call, text, or chat 988. 988. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
AARP wants your health, wealth, and happiness to live as long as you do. Join us each week for AARP Without Limits when we meet the people in our state who can provide you with a bit of lift or inspiration to live your happiest life at 50 plus. Learn more about this topic and others each week on AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Did you and your family lose North Carolina Medicaid and need health coverage? Check this out. You may be eligible to enroll in a low-cost health plan at healthcare.gov. With a new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov offers quality plans that cover doctor visits, prescriptions, emergency care, and more. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
At North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, we believe that getting to know you is the best way to protect what you love most. We have friendly agents in every county to help you prepare for the unexpected. And when life doesn't go as planned, our award-winning claims team will be with you every step of the way. Find a local agent today at ncfbins.com. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
This is Adam Gold.
I got news for you. If I see a hammerhead shark swimming near me in open water,
nope,
we're gone.
Bye.
We're done. I'll be on the dock.
I'm done. I've seen Jaws. You can't fool me.
Yeah, I'll be on the dock.
Yeah.
I'll be, or in the boat or something. I will not be.
Yeah.
I will not be in open water.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. We're at ACC Football Kickoff in Charlotte. We're going to do one-timers in a second. Wes Durham at the top of the hour as we continue talking football. We're live on YouTube. Invite you to join us there. The whole show is always live on YouTube, and today shouldn't be any different. We have cameras. I mean, why not use them?
Yeah.
So before we get to one-timers, this bit of Hurricanes news. The Carolina Hurricanes earlier this year announced that they have now a new it's an old AHL affiliate, officially, the Chicago Wolves, Back to the Future. Remember, there was last year where Carolina didn't have an AHL affiliate and had players, prospects, scattered around the American Hockey League. And they had a working arrangement with the Norfolk Admirals in the ECHL. They were not an affiliate. They just had a working arrangement. And 6 different players played there last year, including the goaltender, Yanni Peretz. There were some other guys there too, but we all know who Peretz is. Anyway, this year they had a working arrangement with the Bloomington Bison of the ECHL there in Illinois. They're actually a Rangers affiliate, but the Hurricanes will provide them with players that don't make their AHL roster. So there you go. And they'll be close enough, especially with goaltenders. They'll be allowed to have both of their goalies in Illinois, one in Chicago and one playing for Bloomington. So that bit of Hurricanes news from ACC football kickoff. And now, questions and answers.
Yes,
all right, it's one-timers.
From
there you
this
go.
side of the state. Okay, so since you're at ACC Kickoff, and we had a lot of Jim Phillips audio yesterday.
Yes.
What maybe didn't you hear Jim address that maybe you wish he would have, if anything?
I think there's only so much he can say about Clemson and Florida State because of legal proceedings. You're limited by what you can say. But I don't think Jim shied away from anything. So I give Phillips full marks for meeting these things head on. And while some of his answers were vague, I think they were vague because there are no good specifics he could give.
All right. And let's see. So what do you anticipate hearing from FSU and Clemson in this week's ACC Kickoff?
Honestly, nothing. The head coaches shouldn't be part of this conversation. Certainly the players shouldn't be part of this conversation. And the good thing is that what we heard Monday from the commissioner is all you're going to hear, other than the stuff that we talk about, regarding the future of the conference roster of schools and what college football looks like, say, 5 years from now. I'll have part of that conversation with Wes Durham coming up in a little bit. But for the most part, it's that stuff is really handled by lawyers.
Okay, now looking at the coaches, Mac Brown, he seemed a little detached last year. A lot of people thought he might have retired after last year, but he did not. So with this upcoming season, is there anything that you think Mac Brown might and or should say to kind of reassure the people that he's in it?
Are you suggesting that maybe the head coach of North Carolina should step aside and that he should name a successor? Is that what you're doing here, Victoria? Are you serious? Did we just go there? We need more energy? Is that it from yeah, look,
Drink a few more Red Bulls. No, I'm just kidding.
I apologize. I did think last year that Max sounded like somebody who was going to retire. I really believed that.
Yeah.
It was obviously is the year that they hoped would turn out differently. But this is the second time in a row they had an NFL quarterback in his final year, and it didn't go well. That's not necessarily. I don't know whose fault it is. The Tar Heels haven't been good defensively at all under Mac Brown, and their offenses took steps back in those seasons. So it is time for them to put it together. They've had a double-digit win season under Mac Brown. It's time to get a little bit more consistency. I think the team down the road right now has a better program.
All right, and last up, another head coach, a new one, Manny Diaz. This is going to be his first time for Duke. So what do you think he's going to address first, being the new head coach?
Well, we are going to speak with him later today. It's after the show, and so we'll air it tomorrow. Although, if you're enterprising, it'll air live on YouTube. I'm curious, how he's different now than he was as the head coach of Miami a few years ago. Has he grown? How has he grown as a coach? I have heard nothing but good things about Manny Diaz, so we'll get into that. Wes Durham.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my man Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. They have been on Kildare Farm Road in Cary since 1996, 9 years after Gordon invented the no closing cost mortgage. And what is a no closing cost mortgage? Well, it's kind of self-explanatory. It's a mortgage where you don't have to pay that $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 in closing costs, depending on the size of your home loan. So what does that do? It saves you $4,000, $5,000 or $6,000. Again, self-explanatory. mandatory, so you can do whatever you want with that money since it belongs to you anyway. And then it gives you the freedom to refinance free of charge when the rates come down. For instance, if you got this mortgage a year ago, right now, rates have dropped about a half a point in the last few weeks. You could take advantage of that. You could refinance free of charge and lower your monthly payment. Wouldn't you want to be in that boat? Miller Lending, they've been doing this for almost 40 years. That's right, MillerLending.com. That's the website. Go check it out. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 2502146.
The world's best athletes are in Paris going for the gold, and 99.9 The Fan will help you follow them for all 16 days of the Summer Games. Starting Friday, listen for all the action from across the Atlantic. Check in often for event reports from Paris and the updated medal count as Team USA takes on the world. Updates from the Summer Games on 99.9 The Fan are presented by North Carolina FC. Get your tickets today at NorthCarolinaFC.com.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
More than 6 million kids in the U.S. have ADHD, and many aren't getting the support they need. At understood.org, we know that parents want to help, especially when their child has questions like,
why am I always falling behind? Why do I feel so alone?
We provide parents with the resources they need to help kids with ADHD thrive. Your child wants to thrive. Be the reason they do. Visit understood.org/thereason to get started.
Planning an engagement? Now's the time. It's Bailey's Fine Jewelry's spectacular engagement ring blowout. 3 days only. Engagement rings, loose diamonds, and wedding bands. Up to 60% off. You'll be blown away by the huge selection of diamond sizes and engagement ring styles near cost, at cost, even below cost. Bailey's Engagement Ring Blowout. July 25th through 27th in Raleigh, Cary, Rocky Mount, and Greenville. Learn more at BaileyBox.com.
Window Nation can help beat the heat in your home with a buy two, get two free offer on insulated, energy-efficient windows, plus 0 down and no interest or payments for 2 years. Schedule an in-home estimate now at 866-90NATION or WindowNation.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Starting trouble. No one likes that. We can get you set up for some stronger starts. You might just need a fresh charge, and we can take care of that free of charge. But if it is time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that'll fit your needs, starting at just $79.99. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
He scores! What a comeback!
Visit GotBryan.com. That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I think it's really good as it relates to just more opportunities for student athletes to play. My biggest issues were protection of the ACC and conference champions and the health and safety and welfare of student athletes if this ends up being a long season. So we'll address whether we stay at 12 or go beyond. It's really speculation right now because honestly, since we have met and declared there was a 12-team playoff, we've had no discussions about what a potential new format would look like.
It's the Adam Gold Show live at ACC Football Kickoff in Charlotte. Wes Durham will sit down with us in just a couple of minutes as we get everybody ready for the start of the season, which honestly ain't that far away. As a matter of fact, today is July 24th, and exactly 1 month from today, if the dates are correct, Florida State will play Boston College, or is it Georgia Tech in Dublin? Exactly 1 month from today, Florida State opens up the season in Dublin, Ireland, Wes Durham is the voice of the ACC, the reason the conference turns a profit, and he joins us. I have to say that now.
Am I late, by the way?
No.
Okay, good.
No,
Sorry.
not at all.
All right.
So, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Florida State, Boston College in Dublin. Are you going?
No, Florida State, Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech in Dublin.
Yeah.
Are you
Month
going?
from today? No.
You should. Why isn't Wes Durham doing that game?
Let's see.
You didn't want to.
Do I have a game that day? I think the night before. The very important. Night before I have a
Falcons.
very important preseason game. Very important preseason game. I hate to tell you where I might be when that game starts at noon on that day. Because it starts at noon Eastern after game day.
Right.
3-hour game day live from Dublin.
Beautiful.
Company likes for me to push the product when
That's
I can.
fine. That's all good.
That game's going to start at noon, 12:08. 16 or 17. I'll be on that. I'll almost be done. I'll play Calhoun, Georgia. I'll play Fields Ferry, great little track, Bermuda Greens, drains well, that kind of place.
So we talked to Tom Luginbill earlier.
Oh boy!
And he said if we, he looks forward to working with you.
We're gonna have a blast
if we can get him off the golf course.
Oh, off. I'll be off the golf course plenty.
So why don't we get tips? Why don't we get Wes Durham's golf tips during the year on Twitter or Instagram?
Same reason we don't get yours.
Yeah, well, I'm not helping anybody. That's the problem.
It's a fact. I'm not helping anybody either. Although, shout out to Parker McLaughlin, the short game chef, for helping me reinvent my wedge game.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right.
I watched some YouTube videos, although I hear that's the worst thing to do. You've cashed in when that happens, but it worked for me.
That's all my son watches.
Yeah.
That's how he's learned. I'm doing well.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
How the
too.
Hurricanes? Everybody good? We signing players? What do we got? I got to get my hockey through you.
we haven't. No,
Okay.
they're not.
All right.
They have to sign 2 of their own players. You can just listen to the Canes Quarter podcast. I update you all the time.
Okay.
There's a fresh 20-minute episode right there for you.
Okay.
You can do that before you make the, when you're making the turn.
All right. Sounds good.
20 minutes. Available wherever you get your podcasts and live on YouTube. We get here and it's all about narrative. What are your thoughts? I'm not asking you. I mean, I didn't criticize Jim Phillips from what I heard yesterday. I thought, or Monday, what I heard from Jim Phillips was forceful, was determined, was confident in the league's position. So let's just get this out of the way. Your thoughts on, what the league is dealing with and trying to fight on 2 fronts off the field.
I am reserved myself to the point that the litigation is the litigation and the games are the games, if you will. So for me, it's like, I don't know if it was Vicky and I went to Canada early July for a few days. Or early June, I should say, for a few days. And I'm not sure at some point in Canada, I just didn't say to myself, you know what? At some point, they're going to decide something,
right?
And then I'll deal with it then. And that's kind of where I am. I really have tried to, and this is not to indict anybody whose lawyering involves, watching Perry Mason. And if you're old enough to know who that is, then you know who I'm talking about.
Right.
I'm in a scenario where I'm trying to stay informed by reading people who actually can tell me things as it relates to what's going on. And there are people out there doing that. And they're doing it at a very high level, and I'm grateful for their expertise. So that's kind of how I'm germinating whatever thoughts I have about where Clemson, Florida State, and the ACC are. The compelling thing for me is this. The fact that the document was signed twice by every institution really leads me to believe that we're kind of looking for a needle in a haystack here, and I'm not
Definition
sure.
of is in the case of Clemson.
We've gotten to that. We've gotten to the Attorney General wanting to see memos, I guess, in Florida.
Yeah, the Attorney General didn't get anything she wanted.
No, not really. So at this point, let's just expedite this process along. And if you really, really want to go somewhere, then that's where the private equity part kicks in.
Right.
You follow me?
Yes.
So that's a whole nother issue. But it's going to be easier for me between now and late August, mid-August, whatever, to just lock in on what my job is, which is to do the games.
Wes Durham is joining us here. Last thing on this.
Yeah.
Because first of all, I have not spoken to any attorney, 0 attorneys who think that the ACC's position is anything other than, they're good.
Right.
So to me, and I always said this about Florida State's position this was all designed to get a settlement. I don't think they're going to like the settlement, and even they know where the settlement is likely going to be because they've even floated something higher than $500 million as like full freight to get out, which if you're the ACC, that's what I would do, especially if you're confident in your legal position. But aside from all of that,
sure,
I don't understand why Florida State doesn't do this. If you're even thinking about private equity, just supplement what you already have with private equity, if you can even do this, if the league will allow them to do this, and bridge the gap yourself. Because competitively speaking, there's no better place for Florida State football than where they are.
Same for Clemson.
Same thing for Clemson.
Right.
You don't need that much private equity to bridge the gap.
Again,
am I thinking about it in too simplistic terms?
You are thinking of it, and by the way, Florida State and Clemson are not the only schools in that category.
Right.
They just happen to be involved in litigation about potentially the conference they're in.
Right.
There are other schools. Now, I do know this from talking to some people who dabble in that industry, that there are schools who are looking at PE to bail them into survival.
Right.
Rather than
especially with House.
They go to extinction, they want to bail into survival, not bail out into extinction. That's where private equity, I think, is going to become common ground. However, structure of institution, structure of athletic department, structure of a lot of things has things to do with how private equity gets handled. Like, some places you're going to have to put on steel gloves. Some places you can put on rubber gloves. To handle that private equity.
Right.
People don't understand. They think private equity is Daddy Warbucks comes along, strikes a check, and hands it to you. No, then when he strikes the check and hands it to you, he's essentially telling you, I'm now your boss.
Right. Jim Phillips said, nothing is for free. That was his answer to the private equity question.
It's the best answer, too. Nothing is for free.
Yep.
And I don't think – and look, take a look at who else is investigating private – if the ACC went for private equity as a conference, and see, Brett Yormark floated that idea.
And Brett Yormark
is my man. I mean,
he's entertaining.
Yeah, but he is exactly what they wanted. Marketing, sales, promotion.
Yeah.
And he's good at it.
Right.
And he's very good at it. But is he selling me the, Mercedes-Benz or is he selling me the Ford Granada?
Yeah.
That Ricardo Montalban, the genuine Corinthian leather, the Cordova.
I have a Hyundai Santa Cruz. I call it a modern-day El Camino. He could be selling the El Camino, which is in its day was pretty sweet.
It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out, Adam, because as you and I have talked about for years, we keep creeping and creeping and creeping to the edge of where all what we know in college athletics goes away.
I think football separates from everything, and that's where we're headed.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, I think that's right. All right, let's talk about football. Let me ask you about new coaches.
Sure.
Let's start with Manny Diaz.
Yep.
Because I'm going to talk to Manny after the show. It'll air tomorrow.
Okay.
My first question to him, and I've already spoken with him, but I am curious, how is he different now than when he took over at Miami?
That's a good question, and I asked him that in the spring. We had to sit down in the spring, and I talked about what.
Maybe I stole it from you. It's very possible.
No, I asked we were there to do the spring, and I asked the same question in the spring. What is it about now that's different when you got Miami? And he said it would be foolish of me not to take lessons and experiences from Miami and to a degree his 2 years at Penn State, and not put them into play coming back to Coach Duke. I think he's got, number one, I thought he did a really good job with his staff. I thought the continuity pieces and the guys he was able to kind of bring in and their experiences, some connectivity directly to him, some indirect connectivity. Patke and Brewer, the two coordinators, fit that kind of bill. Look, I'm pretty excited about him, but I think he's also the realist about where this is.
Sure.
And, look, they went and got a real quarterback in the portal. That guy's a real quarterback, okay? And he's got a cannon for an arm. But it's going to take a collaborative effort of Duke. I think they're actually, and this is credit to Mike Elko and the momentum. And that's the other thing, by the way, that impressed me about Manny. He respects the work Mike Elko put in there in 2 years. And
Elko did a good job.
He did. And embraces a lot about what it is and knows that he benefits from that work now in a way where some of the heavy lifting Mike did Manny may not have to lift as heavy an item. And I believe that my biggest concern about them is they were light in the offensive line in the spring.
Right.
I thought they recovered from some of the portal guys defensively. I like really who they are. I love Trey Freeman at linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge fan. I like Stinson and Rivers in the secondary.
Yep.
Jordan Moore is an underrated star nationally.
What a good player.
Yeah, good player. I really like Dalmolin coming back to football, and I think Jaquez Moore can have a nice year running the ball. But I want to be careful with this. I don't want to say 2 and I don't want to say 7, right? I want to kind of watch it unfold. I hope Murphy stays healthy. I hope that Duke stays healthy across the board because I think if they're healthy, I think they just add to the depth. In the bigger picture, I think it's probably 2 years away.
Sure.
But I think that he capitalizes on some stuff here early. And I can't say enough about the support the institution has now put into that product as a result of what happened the last 2 years.
I know they have new locker rooms over at the Yo Center. They were very proud of that.
Yeah, they should be.
Tweeted out pictures. I put the league in tiers.
Me too.
I have Florida State and Clemson in the top tier. And actually, Florida State's probably ahead of Clemson, although who knows.
I don't disagree.
And I think the next tier.
Why is that the only 2 you got?
Yeah, because I think those are the only 2 that I know in terms of all of their personnel and their coaching is going to maximize the win total. No, sure. I mean, I hate to say this. I think Mario Cristobal has to prove that he can get the most out of the roster.
I think that's
right?
exactly right.
7-5 last year.
Right.
3-5 in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the walking definition of how did you do that?
Correct.
How did we get to that? So Miami, State, Virginia Tech, Louisville, maybe SMU, to me is the next tier, right?
It's interesting. I have 6 schools in my first tier.
Okay.
I have Florida State, Clemson, NC State, Miami, Virginia Tech, Louisville.
And then SMU
I have SMU, Cal, Georgia Tech, Syracuse, Carolina in a middle 5, and then Pitt, Wake, Duke, Virginia, BC, Stanford in the bottom.
Maybe it's just because I'm a homer. I have Duke. In that tier with the Tar Heels, and Cal is going to be interesting.
I love Cal.
Do you?
I like SMU and Cal more than I like Stanford. I think Cal is incredibly. People in the ACC are going to find out how good a coach Justin Wilcox is.
Okay,
he's a really.
We
good
know
coach.
They can run the ball.
He's so good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm telling you, I'm so good. I'm so glad Jade Knott's in this league. And Ulavea, the rookie linebacker who's Pac-12 Freshman Defensive Player of the Year, is a really good player. Now, Stanford is a little bit like Duke. Stanford's like a year or 2 away. They fight some things that other schools fight, lack of ability to get kids from the portal. They do get some. It's not for everybody, right? That kind of thing. Troy Taylor, an incredibly successful coach at Sacramento State. I watched him in the FCS playoffs and things like that. In fact, Troy Taylor's team played Cam Ward, an incarnate word, in the FCS playoffs a few years ago. And I'm telling you, if you can find the game on YouTube, it is sick.
Really? Okay.
I mean, it's crazy how good that game was. So that being said, I think Stanford's a couple years away. Rhett Lashley knows the ACC. Don't ever forget that this fall. I mean, he and I have talked a couple different times because I had great visits with him when he was with Miami. And I actually met him when he was first at Auburn years ago. But Rhett and I have had conversations where he knows this league. That's a benefit people are not thinking about.
Yeah.
Adam, have you looked at their talent level offensively?
They're very good, and
their defensive front is really good.
And the schedule is very conducive to having a good season, which you can say about most of the teams in that I put in my second tier.
Okay.
Most of the teams there have schedules that are conducive to winning.
Right.
The Wolfpack. I've been saying this for a long time. I've never been that concerned with, okay, they didn't win 10 or all of that. I think NC State's had a really, really great program for who they are for a long time under Dave Durham.
Absolutely.
So stable, great at player development, putting guys in the NFL, especially a lot of defensive linemen, a lot of defensive players, quarterbacks too. But this is an opportunity for them where, I mean, 9 wins is almost a minimum
for them.
And now saying that about NC State, there are people that will lose their minds. I just said that out loud. But I look at it, if they go 8-4,
right,
I'm going to yeah, that wasn't very good. And barring like a rash of injuries, and I hope they don't have that.
I just don't know that's going to happen.
I hope not.
I think look, I am such a big fan of the layering process of what he's done there that I just think they are more in position to be 9-10-11 than they are 7-5. I just think that number one, I think the kid at quarterback's talented and he's got to stay healthy.
Sure.
But their ability to run the ball.
Jordan Waters, kid from Duke.
Oh, my God.
What a great between the tackles.
From Metropolitan Fairmount, North Carolina.
I talked to him about McDonald's. It's like he was looking forward to getting home and eating McDonald's.
Fairmont. You know who else was from Fairmont?
Who?
The great Rod Griffin.
Look at that.
One of the all-time great Wake Forest players. All-American 1977, 78, 79, right along the era of Phil Ford. Shout out Phil Ford. Who,
there you go.
Whenever I mention Rod Griffin in Fairmont, North Carolina, Phil loves it. But that's what I mean. Jordan Waters almost like completes who they are skill-wise.
Incredible.
Okay, so take all the excitement of the depth they've got in skill. They're going to be okay in the offensive line.
Yeah,
right?
I think they could be more than okay.
Yeah, and now defensively, okay, I know Peyton Wilson's not there, kids.
I know, right.
I get it. He was a spectacular player. But at the end of the day, they're still pretty good on defense.
I trust Tony Gibson on defense too, and Dave Doran because it's a collaborative
You could give
effort.
Tony Gibson 11 pepper shakers. He'd be good. Love that guy.
So, yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for the Wolfpack. Playoff is at 12.
Yeah, and funny how we talk about 16. We haven't played 12 yet.
Right. Well, because here's why. We know where it's going. Like, as soon as the NFL expanded to 17, we knew it was going to 18.
Right.
I mean, and that's an inevitability. It's going to happen either next year or the year after, whenever they can hammer out the CBA. So,
we're going to 18 in the league. No question.
Yeah, right. But in college football, we're going to ultimately be at 6. I actually think we're going to be more than 16. I think down the road we're going to be at 24.
If we get to the Super Leagues, you're right.
It also all depends how many teams are playing that. How many teams are playing? You call it Super League. How many teams are playing that? I'll call it Premier League. How many teams are playing Premier League?
48,
college football.
48 to 72.
Oh, I think it's a lot closer to the lower numbers there.
The 48 number.
Yeah, because how many schools are really prepared to be paying $25 million a year to their football players?
Oh, God. Just none.
Right.
None.
So
again, remember what I said earlier about private equity?
Yes.
It's a bailout to survive.
Uh-huh. That second tier of football is going to be a sweet spot for a lot of schools. Maybe a lot of schools in this league.
You're thinking like I'm thinking, though. You and I follow.
We talk a lot.
We Premier League and Champions.
Yes.
You and I are thinking on the same line.
You good? You good with West Ham?
Yeah. I'm okay. New manager.
Yeah. Lopetegui knows what he's doing.
Yeah. The tour is in California. No, the tour's here. It's Crystal Palace tonight in Tampa and then someplace in Orlando, I think. Wrexham's on the West Coast.
Wrexham is on the West Coast. We just had Manchester City and Celtic at Chapel Hill.
Full, right?
Yes. And
I heard, by the way, shout out, he's not here. They did special Man City light blue cups.
Did it say Etihad on it?
No, it had
Pep's face.
No, it had Manchester City's logo.
Oh wow!
I'd like one of the special. He's not here. Manchester City cups too.
Very nice.
Become available. Shout out.
I was at Chelsea Wrexham last year. I really want to go see Liverpool and United at Williams-Brice in Columbus, Colombia.
Wow, that could be 1,000 degrees.
I know.
With 165% humidity.
To watch a bunch of teenagers play.
Wow.
Wes Durham, appreciate your time, my man.
It's great to see you.
Nice to see you,
By the way, just so you know, hour and a half ago, there was a guy here wearing a Maryland hat and a Maryland shirt.
Lost.
And
lost.
And I sang the fight song.
Did you?
Maryland. Maryland will win.
Between you and I,
yeah,
you're the only one here who can sing the fight song.
You got the flipping degree.
I know. I never knew the fight
song. I don't
song.
know the whole fight song. I just know that part.
I
told Van Pelt I can do the letters and we'll win.
I just know that we also said go to hell, Carolina when I was at school. That's all I know.
A lot of people did.
Well, that's true. We were not alone.
A lot of people still do.
Exactly right.
By the way, we went through this and did not talk about Carolina. Just so you know.
I'm not bullish.
I'm not either. At this point, it's a prove it situation.
I hope they do well. I mean, I'm not rooting against them. I hope they do well.
All right, Minnesota's a huge ACC week 1. Carolina, Minnesota, Miami at Florida, Clemson, Georgia Tech, and Atlanta. They're all like in the spotlights.
Yeah. Oh, Clemson, Georgia in Atlanta.
Clemson, Georgia, and Atlanta. Rather.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a big opening weekend. Yeah. That's Wes Durham, voice of the ACC. The reason the conference makes money.
Go Canes.
Yes, I'll give you an update later. EJ Manuel joins us coming up in about 20 minutes. When we come back, we'll check in on the Panthers next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
If all things were equal, if everybody was healthy, and I had one quarterback to pick outside of Mahomes to win me a Super Bowl, I would pick Joe Burrow.
In my opinion, the guy that should be the second best quarterback in the league is Trevor Lawrence. The guys that could be are Burrow, Lamar, Josh Allen. The one that I think is what's going to happen here this year is Herbert.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money. Your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit card hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 919-381-1760. 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. 919-381-1760.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
Hungry for flavor and value? Then it's Bo time. Nothing slays the hunger beast like some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. And there's never been a better time to satisfy your Bojangles sandwich cravings than now. With Bojangles Summer Sandwich lineup, you can choose a flavorful Cajun fried chicken filet sandwich, or a tender Cajun grilled chicken filet sandwich, or a crispy Cajun filet club sandwich, or a tasty Bo's chicken sandwich. Make it a sandwich combo and add your choice of a side. Maybe Bojangles seasoned fries, dirty rice, or Cajun pintos. And to complete the perfect meal, Bojangles legendary iced tea. There's a Bojangles sandwich combo for everyone in the family. Summer just doesn't get any better than that. What are you waiting for? You know you're hungry, and you know you want flavor and value. So, it's Bojangles sandwich combo time.
Picture this, the perfect summer barbecue. No stress, no responsibilities, just all your friends, burgers sizzling, hot dogs cooking, Pepsi Zero Sugar fizzing, and a backyard of very, very happy people. Oh yeah, we could get used to this. Very, very used to this. Grilling, better with Pepsi.
For a limited time, get 2 20-ounce Pepsis for only $4.25 at Refuel. So hurry in and enjoy an ice-cold Pepsi today.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up for our 5th grade class recital, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-stress performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through December 28th, Castrol Edge and Edge High Mileage Motor Oil are on rollback at Walmart.
Claim based on sequence 9 test under high-load conditions versus API-SP test limits.
This is Adam Gold.
While I'm watching Colombia, Uruguay, not only the end of that match, but the fight in the stands after it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Heard it got spicy.
That was the most excited fans we have seen in 5 years at Bank of America Stadium. Man, look at all the happy people at Bank of America.
Just took the other kind of football.
Yeah, there you go. More of that.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Coming up in about 15 minutes, EJ Manuel, ACC Network, and former Florida State quarterback. And I remember the first time I met EJ Manuel, I thought he was a defensive end. He was that big. He's a mountain of a human being, but in pretty good shape. But we'll talk about the Seminoles, the year they had, the year they want to have, and we'll talk about the league as a whole. And maybe we'll see if he has any insight on whether or not Florida State's going to stay in the ACC beyond, well, certainly this year and probably next year, but beyond then. Anyway, I do want to get just kind of give you up to date what's going on with the Panthers. Yeah, no joke. The Carolina Panthers training camp began today. On the field training camp began today. DJ Johnson, edge rusher, young guy they drafted last year, did not participate. Dave Canales said he was ill. So he's had injury issues. We know that. He hasn't been able to get on the field, but he was ill today. I know J.C. Horn talked after practice today, after the practice, about the potential for a long-term contract. And credit to him, he talked openly about, hey, I'm not worried about that. That'll take care of itself. What I am worried about is making sure I stay on the field.
Yes, please.
Right. So I appreciate the self-awareness of J.C. Horn, understanding that the first order of business for him is to play. And this is why the Panthers already picked up the fifth-year option, because they still believe he can be one of those guys. Like I referenced the ESPN list of the top 10 players at a position. I I pointed out that Brian Burns, who is now with the Giants, was the 10th rated edge rusher. I think the Panthers believe that J.C. Horn is a top 10 NFL cornerback, but he hasn't been able to be on the field for more than, I think, 40 or 45% of the team's games since he was drafted 3 years ago, and now's the time to do that. So, in my opinion, you cannot be an elite defense in the NFL. You cannot be an elite defense unless you have a lockdown corner. I just don't think there are very many examples of teams at an elite level defensively that don't have a great cornerback. I think that's the first. You need a lot. There's a lot of things you have to have. You have to have good, a great player in the middle of your defensive line. You got to be able to put pressure on the quarterback, but you need to be able to shut down somebody's receiver, and that's what the Panthers are hoping for with J.C. Horn. So they need him to be on the field. They need that guy to essentially eliminate one half of the field. If they can get that at J.C. Horn, even with some of the players that they lost, they can end up being a better defense if they have that guy. And it's really up to J.C. Horn to be that guy. And I know there's still some talk, because I don't believe anybody signed Stephon Gilmore yet. Is that a possibility? Look, training camp started today. If that's going to happen, it's got to happen soon, right? I don't know what the possibilities are there. I don't know why it hasn't happened already. Whose decision is that? I have no idea. But I do know the Panthers still need bodies, and it is a work in progress. So let's get to the quarterback, because that's what it's all about, right? Bryce Young, 4 for 4 in 7-on-7 drills, Pro Bowl. Are you ready to watch Bryce Young in the Pro Bowl games, Victoria?
I don't really care about Pro Bowl games. I just want him
But
to.
that just means he would have had a good season.
I know, but I don't care about Pro Bowl. I just want him to have good seasons.
Well, yes.
Period. Yes.
Right. No, but
so
I'm talking about if he has done something like that, then
that's the
that would have
result.
meant that he has taken the appropriate steps as a second-year quarterback,
which I would be happy for. Yes.
See,
Mhm.
it's all a process. Look, we know that they're not going to be a 10-win team.
No.
Right? We get that.
Right.
We get that.
I think
So
Vegas has the over/under at like 4.5. So cut that in half.
Ooh.
Yeah.
4.5.
Really. Yeah.
Are you comfortable with over 4.5?
See, and someone that we work with has asked me this question, and that's a difficult one because that's right there. Like I could see them win 4 or 5. I hope.
Yeah.
Because that would be doubling their record last season. But I don't know because I don't know what to think of this team. So I don't know. That's a good one. Vegas knows what they're doing. It's probably the under, but
Yes, those hotels don't build themselves,
yeah, that's fear. It's there for a reason.
right? Although they're having trouble financing the stadium for the Oakland Athletics, that is an absolute mess. Here's another good sign for the Carolina Panthers: Eddie Pinheiro, 5 for 5 on field goals today.
Hey, I like that.
I could hear your eyes roll. Here's the thing. In practice, honestly, is that pressure?
None.
It's not pressure. But look, Eddie Pinheiro is a good kicker, and that's all you really need. Like if you have a Justin Tucker, if you have somebody like that, and there are other kickers of that ilk, although maybe he might be the greatest kicker of all time.
And he's an opera singer. I don't know if you
That's
knew
right.
that. Fun fact.
That is true. But if you have a kicker like that, okay, that is different. But for the most part, every team is looking for is just get me somebody that makes the easy ones.
Yeah.
Just get me that guy.
It's a field
Don't
goal.
miss extra point. Right? Yeah. Don't miss extra points. Make them inside of. Make all of them inside of 45. Granted, the special ones are just about as automatic between 45 and 55. But
yeah, it's those extra
probably
points that hurt. It's the after a touchdown, get the 1 point, please.
right, because what that causes teams to do is chase points and do all of that. So it was good to see Eddie Pinheiro kick well. He's a good kicker. That's all you really need. Somebody who is competent. It's sort of like the whole goalie thing in the NHL. Yeah, there are a handful of guys who can absolutely win games for you on their own. But for the most part, get me somebody that just does the job. Don't allow bad ones. So to me, Eddie Pinheiro is good kicker. Moving on. And now we'll see if the Panthers can build an offense around Bryce. I know he's working hard with DJ Johnson, even off the field, to kind of develop some chemistry. Xavier Liggett, and all of the possibilities they've got at running back and wide receiver. And tight end as well, but they've got to develop some sort of danger on offense, which they haven't been now. When was the last time the Panthers were good offensively? 2018?
Cam
2018.
was with them, yeah.
The first 8 games of 2018, going into that Thursday night in Pittsburgh, that was the last time the Panthers were competent offensively, because they have been incompetent since. The best offensive juice. Remember when we played the Bryce Young clip where he talked to Cam?
Yes.
The most exciting and interesting the Panthers have been offensively was when Cam came back a few years ago, and there were 2 games?
Yeah.
Where they.
It was a good one, too, because that was when Ron was still with Washington, and they came back, so it was like a whole reunion. Yeah, it was fun. I was there.
the game in Arizona where Cam touched the ball twice on their first 2 drives, and he scored touchdowns both times.
Right.
And then the subsequent home game, which they named him the starter. The place went bananas.
Yes.
And I think that was the time where everybody realized how big a mistake they made to not just let Cam ride it out. They were he was done. He was cooked. His shoulder was shot. The second shoulder injury completely took him out of anything. And if they would have been so much better off just letting it ride out with Cam and then resetting after that, but they went the Teddy Bridgewater. Was it Bridgewater, Darnold, Mayfield?
Yes.
Right?
Mess.
1, 2, 3.
It was garbage.
And they kept giving stuff away to do that.
Well, and it would have been respectful for Cam, too, to let him ride it out. He was capable, and it would have shown him respect for what he had done for the team. But, I don't own it, so.
It was still, right, that's the problem. It was still the most relevant the Panthers have ever been. What Cam Newton did. I don't put him in, he should be in the Hall of Fame category. I'll have a conversation with Darren Gann about that at some point. Gann, who now covers the team for the team's website. But he's super insightful regarding that. But to me, he is good enough to be in that conversation. He is historically a game-changing, franchise-changing figure. And it was terrible to see how it ended with the Panthers. All right, we're going to take a break when we come back. E.J. Manuel of the ACC Network, former Florida State quarterback, now on the broadcasting side on Florida State and their future. Next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Everyone goes through tough times, and everyone can get through them, as long as they don't have to do it alone. Dial 988 if you need someone to talk to. Get what you need to get to a better place. Together, we'll find the care that works best for you. We're here 24/7. Call, text, or chat 988. 988. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
The new Bluebell Cookies and Cream Cheesecake is cheesecake ice cream with chocolate cookie-crusted cheesecake pieces and chocolate cream-filled cookies. Again, cheesecake ice cream with chocolate cookie-crusted cheesecake pieces and chocolate cream-filled cookies. Buy two.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Turning 65 soon, navigating Medicare can be overwhelming and confusing, but you're not alone. The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program can help. SHIP counselors can help you understand Medicare benefits to make your best choices. Visit ncship.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
AARP wants your health, wealth, and happiness to live as long as you do. Join us each week for AARP Without Limits when we meet the people in our state who can provide you with a bit of lift or inspiration to live your happiest life at 50 plus. Learn more about this topic and others each week on AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Have you lost North Carolina Medicaid? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
Do plans cover doctor visits?
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions?
All covered and more. Plus, with the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
At North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, we believe that getting to know you is the best way to protect what you love most. We have friendly agents in every county to help you prepare for the unexpected. And when life doesn't go as planned, our award-winning claims team will be with you every step of the way. Find a local agent today at ncfpins.com. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
NC Medicaid is healthcare coverage for more North Carolinians. Just go to medicaid.nc.gov and fill out the needed information. Or call our Medicaid Contact Center. You can put pen to paper and fill out an application. And email, mail, or drop it off at your local Department of Social Services. And you can work with a navigator like Marvell at your local library. Don't wait, you can apply at any time and get covered starting the date of your application.
NC Medicaid is for more people. See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
This is Adam Gold.
Subway Series, Game 2. Mets, Yankees should be fun. Good luck to the Yankees, not at all. The Mets are underdogs at home, plus 110. No respect at all for the team that is playing the best baseball in the month of June.
How McRude.
The Adam Gold Show.
We're at ACC Football Kickoff with the next Paul Feinbaum. Eric McLean of the ACC Network.
I'm like 6 Paul Feinbaums. Okay,
So,
you got to
wait
put
a
that
second.
guy together.
Wait a second. Hey, similar hairlines. I'm with you.
No, mine's way farther back.
That
His
is
stops.
true.
His stops right here. He needs to just cut it
Well,
all
he
off.
should. He should just come home like all of us.
Yes.
So that narrative makes me laugh because it's a 7-year-old conversation.
Sure.
But they're acting like that's the issue with like the ACC Network or like so. I want you to be it now.
Yeah.
You can be the ACC Network's Paul Feinbaum.
Okay.
Can you do that?
What am I talking about?
I mean, why the ACC is great. Why?
Yeah. We are. That's what we do, baby.
All of
That's
that.
what we do.
So can we start last year? Florida State was screwed, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah, 100%.
Well,
100%.
How come there weren't enough people talking about how we had a Power 5 team that lost their starting quarterback, and then they were judged on their third-string quarterback because that's what they were talking about. That's why Florida State, look what their offense. I'm like, how about their defense? How about just rewarding what they did for the season? And by the way, they won the ACC championship game with their third-string quarterback.
Yeah, it was fascinating. I mean, and hurtful. I mean, because you feel for those guys. I think what's interesting about where we are, what we do, we're very intimate with this league. Obviously, we do things like this. We know these guys. It's not just that's a player with a helmet and a jersey.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's Jared Verse. That's Braden Fisk. That's Jordan Travis. And we know these guys. We talk with them. Off record, on record, whatever. And so you feel horrible. For them. And I think at the end of the day, I can scream and shout as loud as I want. But
yes,
those folks in that room made that decision, and we changed playoff rules this year. They will never be held accountable for that. It's over. Like it'll never happen again.
Right.
And there's no opportunity for it to ever happen again. So super unfortunate. Feel just it's hard to even explain. I couldn't imagine that. In 15, if Deshaun got hurt. And we're clearly that team, one of those teams, and that would be taken. I don't know. It's horrible.
It was unfair, disrespectful with all the players. And then they were judged in the loss to Georgia in the Orange Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a second. You knew like 28 players.
I'm shocked that they played, to be honest.
I agree.
I thought that they weren't going to play.
I thought they would beg out.
Yeah.
I actually talked about it. I supported like why even go?
I know.
Why even go? Why be part of the system that just completely
fascinating.
Eric McLean, not only ACC Network, but Gramlich and McLean podcast.
Come on.
How many? This is like 1,400 episodes. How many episodes in this now?
We're a little over 400, which is awesome. We don't do every day, so that would add up quick. It's sweet, man, and we've got an awesome kind of series coming out. All 17 head coaches, all 17 teams previews. for the first time ever, we're going 5 days a week for 3 straight weeks. It's going to be so fun. I can't wait.
That's like real work.
It's good. It's real work. It's real work. I don't get paid anymore, but we're doing it. We're doing it.
Doing that.
We're doing it. It's fun. It's going to be really cool.
So your conversation with Dave Doran, it's playoff or bust. No,
I didn't quite phrase it that way.
Okay,
but that's about how I think about it. At least, how about 10 wins or bust? You know, because whatever championship game, all that stuff's hard. You got to do it. I mean, this schedule. Take advantage of it. The people you've brought in, the influx of talent so quickly. Of like known commodity. This is, I don't have any questions about who they brought in. I know what they are and what they can do, what they've done. You've got a 10,000-yard passer. You got Jordan Waters that is an animal. And that, quite frankly, that running game that has been non-existent since I've been on the network, that has to be supercharged when you have a guy like that. Healthy offensive line. Hollywood, I believe, from Oklahoma comes in as well. And then receiver. My gosh. I mean, first of all, you have KC, monster. Arguably the best in the conference. You add in Noah Rogers, 5-star freak show that, you know,
Raleigh kid.
Comes home. Unfortunately, couldn't get on the field with 20 first-round draft picks at Ohio State. He comes home. Joe Lee from UConn. I mean, just dudes. And so now KC can flourish naturally. It doesn't have to be force-fed. We got to get this guy 30 touches. You know, it's just within the offense. And like I said about McCall, you have this point guard, Chris Paul-like guy that knows how to distribute it, knows how to get it out. I think I don't know if I want to say uneducated, but the further away fan might just look at it and say, hey, Peyton Wilson's gone. This defense is going to be horrible. Tony Gibson's still there. The guy calling the shots is one of the best, if not the best, around. And they've got pieces. They've got guys waiting. So certainly there's not quite the star power of the best defensive player in the world.
Right.
But there's guys that are ready, for their time.
I still can't believe that the Panthers drafted a linebacker.
Yeah, you can.
With
you know why you can? Because they're the Panthers.
Yes. I was trying to avoid slamming. I just couldn't believe it. You took a linebacker. You took an inside linebacker. With him on the board, I think
what was their record? What was their record this year?
Yeah,
and they didn't have the first overall pick, huh? They traded them.
Oh my God! That's what we're doing here.
Worked out.
Look, it's deserved. Eric McLean, ACC Network, is joining us here. Let me talk about your guys. You played at Clemson. You were a conference champion. So, what's their outlook? How does their offense get more dynamic?
Yeah.
Because that's really what's held them back.
Sure.
Not being able to put tons of points on the board. Right. And I was talking to Tom Luginbill, who's actually going to run that interview in a couple of minutes. He said when he was on the field for Clemson Duke, the beginning of the season, he went, Duke looks more athletic and faster.
Mm-hmm.
How does Clemson turn that back around?
Well, I think, first of all, receiver health is a major thing. Like they have been ridiculed with injuries.
Yeah.
It seems like the last 3-4 seasons of guys that they thought were game changers, and just could never stay or be on the field. Those guys are all healthy, right? Antonio Williams, I've heard, is in the best shape of his life, leading like a madman, and ready to take a massive step. That was a freshman All-American,
right?
You look at our guy Troy Stellato, who has just been killed with injuries his whole career. Was a guy that Ohio State wanted bad, that Clemson got instead of. We saw flashes of him last year, stepped up in a massive way. Tyler Brown, freshman All-American last year, fine, healthy, ready to go.
Right.
Adam Randall, massive wide receiver, has never been able to be on the field consistently. We saw him in the Kentucky game, what he was able to do, that big body receiver that Clemson made a staple. That's the start. Okay, having those guys ready. And, oh, by the way, Brenningstool, dynamic as they come, tight end in the ACC. Cade has to take a step.
Yeah.
And he's going from year 1 to year 2. And we all know that's where you see a massive amount of growth, or potentially the massive amount of growth. And he's also going to be in year 2 with the same coordinator. So, to me, man, all of that added up. You need a little luck, but you also need to study and get better. There's a real chance. I think Maffa's going to be dynamic. I think the offensive line, again, health. They're getting Marcus Tate back. I think they're going to be much better. Blake Miller is talked about as a first-round draft pick prospect at tackle. So it just takes that, right? Because when you turn the ball over on the 1-yard line 5 times going in for a touchdown, whether that's against Duke or Florida State or whoever, you can't win. You can't beat those guys when you're doing that. And so you eliminate that. Defense is going to be elite. I mean, those guys are going to be disgusting.
They're always elite.
I think real. I mean, I'm talking about top 5 in the country at least. I think they'll be fine.
Eric McLean, more than fine. Tell Kelly I said hi.
I will.
Talk to you during
Great
the
to
season.
see you
Nice
in
to see you
person,
too,
brother.
All right, man.
Thank
We'll
you guys
do it.
for having me.
You got it.
You be good.
All right, we have enough time to play some bets. I am excited for that. Also, yeah, let's do that now.
I bet you slice into the woods $100. Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slice. Yeah. Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
All right, so I didn't win either of my bets yesterday because I messed up the Mets Yankees over under. I said it would be over 9. Honestly, I thought the Yankees would be better.
Yeah.
Mets win at 3-2. That's right, Yankees fans. 3-0 for the Mets against the Yankees.
I can feel you on that one.
I had a lot of time on the train. I was following that game on my way down here and texting. Very good friend. We talked golf with him a couple of weeks ago, Matthew Lawrence, who even complained that I started our conversation about the fact that the Mets swept that 2-game series at Citi Field. And, hey, thank you very much, Aaron Judge, for staring at call strike 3 as the winning run, the potential winning run at the plate with 1 out in the 9th inning. All right, let's play some bets, shall we? Go ahead.
Perfect. Oh, and speaking of, I learned that Jim Phillips is also a Cubby fan as well because he threw shade at our friend Josh Graham about the Orioles sweep.
A lot of shade, like a 400-year-old oak tree worth of shade.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought they were showing the Twisters movie. It was so shady in there. But no, last night the Cubs, I mean, it was just a pitcher's battle in this game. They lost to the Brewers. So they're going to rebound today. Give me the Cubs against the Brewers in Wrigley. They got still pitching and under 7.5 since that was a struggle yesterday. It's plus 185.
All right. We're going back, man. We're going for the sweep. You know, the Mets have been underdogs in all 3 of the previous games. The 2 games at Citi Field, the Mets were plus money in the neighborhood, anywhere from plus 125 to plus 140. They are plus money again, like they were yesterday at Yankee Stadium. Sean Manaea is pitching against Garrett Cole. Last time Garrett Cole faced the Mets, he got his pants lit on fire, and it's going to happen again. Mets plus 138, and we're going to go over 8.5. I'm confident that at least the Yankees bats will show up, but the Mets are going to torch Garrett Cole. Of course, none of this is going to happen, but we'll go with the Mets and over 8.5.
Perfect. Not because he's a liar, pants on fire thing. So
exactly.
the Boston Red Sox are going to be in Colorado taking on the Rockies. I'm just feeling the home team because the home team's an underdog in this one. So give me the Rockies to win just outright plus 130.
Yeah, Boston won out there. I think it was 6-0 was the final score yesterday. And because I've already told you that there's going to be a ton of runs scored. So let's go with Francisco Lindor. No, we're going to go Brandon Nimmo plus 470 anytime home run for the New York Mets. Brandon Nimmo plus 470.
It's a Mets kind of day. And my last
absolutely.
one, since I threw shade at him, Baltimore Orioles, they're going to be in Miami taking on the Marlins. However, I'm going with the Marlins for today. They are also underdogs. They're only up about plus 120, so that's good enough.
They won yesterday. Marlins beat the Orioles last night at whatever it's called, Marlins Park. I don't even know what it's called. All right. The women's soccer tournament at the Olympics starts tomorrow.
Ooh.
U.S. is taking on Zambia in their first match. The best player in the entire tournament just might be Barbara Banda from Zambia. Anytime goal scorer, plus 500. She has scored 12 goals in 12 matches in the NWSL this year. She is incredible, and she's going to get a goal, although I think the U.S. will win. So Barbara Banda, anytime goal scorer, incredible value. You get arguably the best player in the tournament, plus 500. I'm taking it. I am taking it. All right. Wake Forest offensive lineman DeVonte Gordon is going to join us. When we come back, we'll talk to him about Wake Forest football.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hi, it's Adam Gold from my friend Coach Pete D'Arruda, Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex. People have asked me, if Coach Pete is an expert in retirement planning, why do you call him Coach? Aha, good question. Here's a very simple answer. He has a game plan for your retirement tailor-made for your needs. Just like any good coach has a game plan tailor-made for their team's needs depending on the opponent. So he can customize a retirement plan for you based on where you are in the employment spectrum. Are you close to retirement? Are you just into the workforce? How much do you want to spend? What are your goals in retirement? All of these things customized. 888-843-0013, or you can text my name, Adam, to 600-700, and we're going to unlock two very necessary things for you for free. The first is one of his best-selling books. He's got a bunch of those on retirement planning. That will get you started. But what you really need is that total customized retirement plan, and we'll get it to you for free. And it's a $1,000 value. Incredible. Coach Pete D'Arruda, retire on your terms. 888-843-0013.
The college football season is here, and 99.9 The Fan will be live from Charlotte for ACC Football Kickoff. Touchdown, Carolina! Adam, Tim, and the crew will huddle up with your favorite players and coaches from Carolina, Duke, and State.
Concepcion's got it. Touchdown, Wolfpack.
Join us for ACC Football Kickoff live from Charlotte on 99.9 The Fan.
Duke thumps the Tigers.
Driven by Wilkinson Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC, and Sanford. Visit WilkinsonCars.com.
Paid for by government. Did you hear? A secret hoard of 1904 $20 Gold Liberty coins have been found. These gorgeous 1904p gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 500 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this secret U.S. gold coin discovery a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you can own a piece of the hoard. When you call, you are guaranteed a 1904 Gold Liberty struck at the iconic Philadelphia Mint. With limited availability, you must call now. These 1904 dated gold coins are still in uncirculated condition with brilliant luster. That is 120 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-895-7664. Call now, and you'll receive a free bonus, a $75 value free with every order. Call 1-800-895-7664 now to secure your 1904p $20 Gold Liberty coins before they sell out. That's 1-800-895-7664.
Donnelly here for Zero Res. Get 3 rooms Zero Resified. That's carpets clean as they could possibly be, starting at just $109, and get a free hallway done on top of that. Just call now at ZeroResRaleigh.com or 919-995-0000.
Triangle Area Trading Cards is trading up, moving across the street to a big new location. So they're hosting a grand opening party Saturday, August 3rd from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. There'll be treats, trading, 99.9 The Fan will be there giving out Durham Bulls tickets, and the first 100 folks in get a gift bag. Check out the Collector's Lounge, trading tables, social media room. It's a great chance to see the inventory, check out the space, and trade for sports and TCG cards all day. Details on Facebook and Insta at Triangle Area Trading Cards.
It's hot out there, and your inefficient windows mean high utility bills all year long. Window Nation sells some of the most energy-efficient windows you can buy and was recently ranked highest on Forbes' list of best window installation companies. Right now, for every 2 windows you buy, you'll get 2 windows free, plus 0 down and no interest or payments for 2 years. Stop paying more than you have to. Schedule an in-home estimate right now at 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
This hour of buzzer-beating, nail-biting, edge-of-your-seat sports action on 99.9 The Fan is powered by
Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
We're very intimate with this league. We do things like this. We know these guys. It's not just, oh, that's a player with a helmet and a jersey. No, that's Jared Verse. That's Braden Fisk. That's Jordan Travis. And we know these guys. We talk with them, off record, on record, whatever. And so you feel horrible, for them. And I think at the end of the day, I can scream and shout as loud as I want. But
yes,
those folks in that room made that decision, and we changed playoff, rules this year. It's over. Like, it'll never happen again. Super unfortunate. It's hard to even explain it.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Thank you very much for spending some time here at ACC Kickoff. That was Eric McLean of the ACC Network, longtime offensive lineman in the league. And joining us here is DeVonte Gordon from Wake Forest, also a longtime offensive lineman. I got a lot of stuff I want to ask you about. But is this fun for you? Is coming down here from Winston-Salem and spending the day, is this fun for you?
Yeah, it's been a great time so far.
So really?
Yeah.
Is it fair if I don't believe you? is that like, how do you turn this into something that's kind of enjoyable?
I think it's, just knowing that I was trusted to come down here and represent the university. It's a big honor that guys who I consider role models and leaders on the team before me have done, like Michael Juergens, Sam Hartman. I think Boogie Basham is down here.
Yeah.
So guys that I've looked up to, guys that I've tried to kind of see how hard they work at the game and model my work ethic after that. They have all been down here and trusted to represent the university as well. So I think it's an honor, honestly, to be asked to come down.
We're talking to DeVonte Gordon from Wake Forest, an offensive lineman. As you mentioned, Sam Hartman, I don't remember him. Well, Sam, did he play? Did he play at Wake Forest?
I think so. I think for a little bit.
So how was it like? How was that dynamic going when you had to face him?
Yeah.
Last year, I know, Duke maybe someday. I don't know if Duke plays Notre Dame or not, but they might have to deal with that with Riley Leonard. How was it like going up against him? Although you didn't have to deal with him.
Yeah, I think it's like Sam and I were cool. We're always going to be cool. He made a decision that was for the best of him and things like that. One thing that's going on in college football because of the era we're in. But going up against him, it's like once we step on the field, it's just like playing anybody else. I've got a lot of friends throughout the conference, so it's just like playing any of them.
It is kind of, that's the way of the world now.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
transfer portal is crazy. Did you ever consider? Like, do I want to do this? This is where I want to be. How does that work?
I think the decision was always made for me. I knew I was going to come back. There was times that, whatever you're saying, oh, this guy's getting deported, this guy's getting deported, but I always knew I was coming back to Winston-Salem. I love it in Winston-Salem. It's always treated me well. Rode the quad, made it worth our while. And we love all those guys for that. But, yeah, the decision was pretty much made.
Does it have anything to do with a double major in business and enterprise management and economics? That's a lot. You have a minor in communications. That was essentially my major a long time ago in college. How much time out of the day does that take from you?
Yeah, when I was in undergrad, it was a grind.
Oh, you're a grad student now. So you're done with that. You're just coasting.
I'm getting my master's degree now.
And what is your master's in?
Digital marketing.
All right. So what is the next thing that you want to do?
So hopefully, God willing, I can play football as long as I want to. But I'm not sure what realm of marketing. But I think I want to get into some sort of marketing, whether that's sports marketing or from a clothing brand or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to be in the marketing field.
Do you have a favorite type of, what clothes? Give me a designer you like to wear.
I've been real big on the athleisure lately. Whether that's like the Nike sweatsuits or the essential sweatsuits and all different types of stuff like that.
Fabletics.
There we go. Yes, that's a good one.
I have a pair of. If I were seeing you tomorrow, I'm probably wearing Fabletics. This is what VRST. This is whatever that is. I wear anything that fits. We're talking with DeVonte Gordon from Wake Forest. How aware? I'm sorry for giving you big picture stuff, but I'm curious. As a player and a smart one, how aware are you of the universe around college football and the money and everything that is happening around it?
Yeah, I think it's hard not to be aware. When even if you don't pay attention to it, you'll get a text from family members. I see this going on. Like, how's that going for you? Things like that. But pretty much, we try to tune all of that out. For the most part, it's like I've got a job to do and I'm gonna get it done. You can't really let anything distract you. So while I think there are some great things being done in the football realm, whether that's like all the NIL going on or the transfer portal or all the different things, we try to like not really pay attention to it unless that's something you're going through. But for the most part, you gotta keep the main thing.
Is there a teammate who is super engaged in that kind of is always talking about it? Do you have anybody like that?
No, I don't think so. I think the team's pretty much just keep the main thing. And luckily we go to a university where I was saying earlier, Lola Quad is taking care of us.
Right.
So if you're a caliber player that they're looking into, then you don't have too much to worry about. So
all right, final off the field thing is the video game.
Yeah,
it's back. Are you into that? Is that something you kill time with? What is it?
Yeah, for sure. The video games are fun. It's been a lot of fun actually. I play as Wake most of the time.
Do you?
Yeah.
Are you in it?
Yeah, I'm right there, left tackle spot. So yeah,
all right.
That's been fun.
Are you pancaking people?
Yeah, I love to. That's my favorite part of the game.
So do you know what your player number is? What your rating is?
It's 85.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
It's not bad. Is that all is that all ACC level?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, I'm looking. Say I'm not a gamer, but so we'll be looking for DeVonte Gordon, number 62, right? Number 62, left tackle, pancaking people over what is it? College football 25? Is it 25?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Did you play it? It's probably 10 years ago now, isn't it? You were too young to play it.
No, I didn't. Believe it or not, I didn't really watch college football back then. I didn't start watching football until I got here playing football.
Really?
Yeah. So
you didn't even watch the NFL?
I watched the Commanders back then. Them DC guys,
right.
My favorite team. But other than that, I didn't keep up with football too much.
How about what? So what was your favorite sport as a kid growing up?
Basketball.
All right. Who did you like?
For sure. I jumped around a little bit. I was a Miami fan. Then LeBron left. I became a LeBron fan.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
There we go.
He's still the best player in the world.
Yeah, for sure.
DeVonte Gordon, appreciate left tackle, Wake Forest. Look for him in the video game. Thank you very much for hanging out.
Wonderful.
I appreciate it. He's having fun at football kickoff because he's made it fun. And I thank you for helping me make it fun. We'll take a quick break. Coming up, a teammate of his, we'll ask him the same questions because I'm not original. Taylor Morin, wide receiver, will join us coming up in about 15 minutes here on the Adam Gold Show.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Win Your Weight in Meat is back on 99.9 The Fan. Text PORK, P-O-R-K, to 919-860-5326 and enter for your chance to be one of our finalists. Through August 2nd, we'll pick 10 people to come on air during the drive with me, Tim Donnelly, and share their weight. On August 5th, we will randomly select one lucky winner and they will score their weight in meat. Served up by the North Carolina Pork Council and their dedicated team of farmers that put bacon and barbecue on your plate. Learn more at ncpork.org.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. I have a deal for you. I'll tell you about it in a second. Day 2, Subway Series, Mets, Yankees. We are finding out who is dominant so far in this series. The Mets, baby. New York's the National League town. Anyway, you can go to FanDuel.com/AdamGold, FanDuel.com/AdamGold, and start making the most of the Subway Series. I like Francisco Lindor to go deep today. I'm not saying you should, but I do because I'm a Mets fan. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book and the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. 21 or over and present in North Carolina, opt-in required, wager requirements apply. Bonuses awarded as non-withdrawable bonus bets or profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including bonus expiration. See terms and conditions at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Hungry for flavor and value? Then it's Bo time. Nothing slays the hunger beast like some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. And there's never been a better time to satisfy your Bojangles sandwich cravings than now. With Bojangles Summer Sandwich lineup, you can choose a flavorful Cajun fried chicken filet sandwich, or a tender Cajun grilled chicken filet sandwich, or a crispy Cajun filet club sandwich, or a tasty Bo's chicken sandwich. Make it a sandwich combo and add your choice of a side. Maybe Bojangles seasoned fries, dirty rice, or Cajun pintos. And to complete the perfect meal, Bojangles legendary iced tea. There's a Bojangles sandwich combo for everyone in the family. Summer just doesn't get any better than that. What are you waiting for? You know you're hungry, and you know you want flavor and value. So, it's Bojangles Sandwich Combo time.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loan, and personal loans. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value is way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. Call now, 919-381-1760, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
This is Adam Gold.
That answer fails on so many levels. Part of me wants to start the answer again and then stop it after each time. Is that a good idea, Victoria?
No.
That's great. Did you do that on purpose?
I did.
You did? At the end, that was brilliant.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. Taylor Morin from Wake Forest is going to join us in about 10 minutes or so. In the meantime, a couple of things I wanted to pass along. Then just a conversation I want to start about 5 games in 2 different categories that are going to shape how we talk about the league this particular season. One on the field and one off the field. But yesterday, conference commissioners got together and kind of came to a decision on roster sizes that schools can offer scholarships in starting the 25-26 season. Check this out. Currently, college football teams are allowed 85 scholarships, right? That's the number, I believe, 85. And that number is going to rise to 105 starting next year. Right, 105. This is all about the settlement, House versus the NCAA. 105 football scholarships. This is going to make schools shake, tremble, shiver. Men's and women's basketball. 15 apiece. Right now, I think it's 15 for women, just 13 in the men's game. But that is going to be 15 for both men's and women's basketball. Baseball, to me, and I don't know the scholarship limits of a lot of the other schools. Baseball has been operating, regardless of the roster size. Baseball has been operating with 11.7 scholarships for their rosters for I don't know how long. 11.7. So if your roster's got 40 players on it, you do the math. Like, nobody's got a full ride. Maybe there's a player that has a full ride. But 11.7 for the entire roster. According to Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports, that number will be 34. 34. Imagine your favorite school's baseball coach going from 11.7 scholarships to offer to 34. Softball, 25. Volleyball, 18. And again, according to Ross Dellinger, schools can offer scholarships to full rosters starting with next season, the 25-26 season. That is insane. It's really the opposite of stuff that has happened recently. With COVID and the fact that they gave everybody that year back. Remember what happened in college sports? There became a roster crunch because everybody got that year back. So a lot of players were sticking around for a fifth or sixth season. A lot of players played 6. There are players who've been in college for 8. Generally, they're injury-related or mission-related, church missions. But you basically were allowed to be a 6-year college student without other extenuating circumstances other than the one redshirt year. So because they gave you a free year. And Dave Doran kind of lamented my gosh, it's really hurting recruiting, high school recruiting, because a lot of kids are using that extra year of eligibility. And it's not like they were allowed. I think roster sizes were expanded a little bit, but as soon as the pandemic was over, we chopped them back down. And it really put schools in an awkward position of, not being able to follow through on some scholarships that maybe they had offered, or having people leave the program that otherwise they didn't want to leave. But now we are going in the opposite direction. All of a sudden, it's an explosion of scholarships. And it won't certainly create problems other than, my gosh, they'll be throwing around scholarships like, I guess, proverbial candy. But so I found that to be super interesting in terms of this. This is the era of college sports that we are dealing with. This is the era of college sports right now in the United States. All right, two conversations to have. I went through the entire ACC schedule, and I pared it down to 5 games in each category. One category is games that are going to shape the conference season, games that will go a long way to determining the 2 teams that meet in Charlotte for the ACC championship. The other category is games that will determine the ACC, the narrative around the ACC, the reputation of the league in terms of football. How many of these games in that category can you win to make people believe that you play high-level football? We'll get to that list in a second. The first list, the games that will determine who wins the league. And I'm going to do it in order of when they appear on the schedule in week whatever. Granted, there are a lot more than 5 games on this list because every game is in many ways a determining factor about who's going to win the league. And when I put the league into tiers, 2 tiers at the top, 2 teams in the top tier, 5 teams in the next group, 5 teams in the group after that, 5 teams in the group after that. I think the top 7 teams, given a result here or there, the top 7 teams all have a chance to be in the ACC championship game in Charlotte. I really don't think we're going anything below there. Florida State and Clemson in Tier 1, Miami, Virginia Tech, NC State, Louisville, SMU, Tier 2. So here are my 5 games that I think will determine who wins the ACC. Week 4, NC State at Clemson. This is for both teams. I think that game is hugely important to the outcome of the league. And I'll give you the rest of that list in a little bit because Taylor Morin is sitting down here at ACC Kickoff. Nice gray ensemble, sir.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. First of all, did I pronounce your last name right or no?
You did. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Taylor Morin.
Very good. Long line of Wake Forest wide receivers that are awesome. 19 career touchdown passes. People don't necessarily associate that with Wake, but we're smart enough. We watch. So what that's a lot of pressure on you.
Absolutely. And that was a big reason as to why I chose Wake Forest
Was it really?
I knew they were going to air the ball out, and their slot receivers had a tremendous track record, and I was like, hey, let's go do this thing. Wake Forest, we're going to go air the ball out. I'm going to get a great degree and, build some lifelong relationships along the way.
Yeah, we just talked to DeVonte Gordon a lot. How many times did he say, was it roll the quad or something like that?
Roll the quad, yes, sir.
How many times? It's like 6 times.
Shameless plug.
Explain, when he says that, what does that mean to you?
So Roll the Quad is our collective, and
right.
A lot of our big-time donors have put together some money to enable student-athletes to, enjoy the benefits of NIL. But it doesn't stop there with the money.
Right.
There's also, internships that guys are able to do. I've been very fortunate enough to do an internship with Ben Sutton in Teal Capital, which is a private equity firm in Winston-Salem. And so I've been working there for 6-7 months now, and just being able to have that work experience there's not many other kids that are playing college football at this level that are able to say that they're able to do something like that.
We're talking with Taylor Morin from Wake Forest, a wide receiver. I'm a dad, right? I've got a kid who's a high school athlete, and my dream for him is different from his dream for him. Like, I want him to just be able to play the sport that he loves in college. He's not thinking about that. He's thinking about silly things. But the benefit of playing football, any sport in college, because I think you alluded to it, it's not just the games.
Right.
It's what the contacts. It's the relationships.
Right.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
When the power goes out, your life is disrupted. Heat, air conditioning, refrigeration, phones, all gone. Be prepared for the next outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power. Whether you're home or away, power your life with a Generac home standby generator. Act now for a free 10-year warranty on a Generac home standby generator. Terms and conditions apply. See more at alternativepower.com. Alternative Power, North Carolina's Generac experts.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
The new Bluebell Cookies and Cream Cheesecake is cheesecake ice cream with chocolate cookie-crusted cheesecake pieces and chocolate cream-filled cookies. Again, cheesecake ice cream with chocolate cookie-crusted cheesecake pieces and chocolate cream-filled cookies. Buy 2.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
Are you taking care of someone on Medicare? Navigating Medicare can be overwhelming. You're not alone. The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program can help you figure out what steps to take and when. SHIP counselors can answer your questions. Visit ncship.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
Everyone goes through tough times, and everyone can get through them, as long as they don't have to do it alone. Dial 988 if you need someone to talk to. Get what you need to get to a better place. Together, we'll find the care that works best for you. We're here 24/7. Call, text, or chat 988. 988. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
AARP wants your health, wealth, and happiness to live as long as you do. Join us each week for AARP Without Limits when we meet the people in our state who can provide you with a bit of lift or inspiration to live your happiest life at 50 plus. Learn more about this topic and others each week on AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Did you and your family lose North Carolina Medicaid and need health coverage? Check this out. You may be eligible to enroll in a low-cost health plan at healthcare.gov. With the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov offers quality plans that cover doctor visits, prescriptions, emergency care, and more. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
At North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, we believe that getting to know you is the best way to protect what you love most. We have friendly agents in every county to help you prepare for the unexpected. And when life doesn't go as planned, our award-winning claims team will be with you every step of the way. Find a local agent today at ncfbins.com. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
This is Adam Gold.
He takes the hat. There's like somebody who works there, was wearing a baseball cap. Takes it off the kid's head and puts it on the hostess station. Just takes the hat off this guy and puts it down.
Excuse you?
Like that's exactly what I would. I'm like, excuse me?
Right.
Well, what are you doing?
The Adam Gold Show.
As we were saying, Taylor Morin, wide receiver for Wake Forest, super patient. Thank you very much. Technology sometimes doesn't always cooperate. We were having conversations about internships and high school football, and we got into, this is off the air, we got into why you chose to come back to Wake Forest, and you said bad taste in your mouth from last year. We've been used to Wake Forest winning a ton of football games. I know Dave Clawson, who I've spoken to, a couple times a year for the last however many years, used to winning football games. How was that? That had to be a very difficult, especially the end. Didn't start out bad. It kind of devolved over the course of the season. How'd you guys deal with it, and how did that motivate this year?
It's definitely a very humbling feeling. When we first came in, we're going to 7 straight bowl games, and we're having win season after winning season. So definitely a slice of humble pie, and is served as a chip on our shoulder this entire offseason. And I can't remember another offseason where we've worked as hard as we have. Coach Chad Berry, our strength coach, and his staff have done a great job as getting us ready,
right? Not
only physically, but also mentally. Our winter workouts, we changed that program. We're changing the way we practice. So a lot of tweaks that we've made to not let a season like last year happen again.
You mentioned 7 straight bowl games and then 1 bad year and then changes. Is that just, all right, we'll just change it up? Or were there things that maybe you and others or the coaching staff felt like, we've been getting away maybe with doing things this way?
Yeah, and that's the great thing about Coach Clawson is he doesn't get stuck in his ways.
Right.
After last season, he was the first to, look in the mirror himself, and then also the coaching staff they were the first ones to take accountability, and they're like, hey, these are some areas that we could have been better.
Right.
And then that sort of approach trickles down to then our captains and our older guys. They're like, all right, maybe I should take a look internally of what I could have done differently versus pointing the fingers at, this guy could have done this. No, that's not the approach. So with him doing that, it's trickled down to now our older guys, and then we're instilling that same sort of mindset into our younger guys as well, as taking that accountability.
Taylor Morin, wide receiver, Wake Forest, is joining us here. We'll let you go in a couple of minutes. I'm curious, and I asked these questions to DeVonte. How aware are you of the world around college football and everything that's happening? We know the portal has just been explosive in college sports and NIL, which is great for you guys, and who knows what's happening next with employee status or not. But the fact that it's not just an extracurricular sport like you played in high school anymore. It's a business. How aware are you guys of that?
We're very aware, and it's been like that since I first got there. It's just the way it's being viewed, and the compensation piece, all of that stuff is very different. But ever since I've gotten there, it's been a full-time job on top of the academics and that sort of thing as well. So it's definitely changed from the outside looking in, but internally we know. I mean, it's been that. It's just looks a little different.
Final thing, and we had a very long conversation off the air. Have you played the video game?
Yes.
Have you played as Taylor Morin?
I have.
Are you good in the video game? You should be.
I am a good player. I'm an 85 overall.
Oh, so was DeVonte.
Yes. So.
All right, good.
It's honestly just a blessing to begin with to be in the game. Like, it didn't really matter to me what the overall was. Like, of course, that everyone jokes about it. Like, oh, I wish I was this. I wish I was that. But it's just a blessing to be in the game.
What cornerback in the ACC have you terrorized in the game?
So I actually haven't had a chance to play that extensively. And even if I had, it's not something I would share.
Oh, okay, that's very good. Thank you very much, man. I wish you the best of luck. You're a sharp-looking guy, too.
Thank you.
And tell Ben Sutton we said hello. North Carolina Sports Hall of Famer, Ben Sutton.
Yes.
Inducted a few years ago.
He's the man.
He is, absolutely. Thank you so much. That's Taylor Morin from Wake Forest. You got it. I can't tell you how polite Taylor was when the whole thing blew up here about 15 minutes ago. We were having a conversation, and then all of a sudden everything fell apart, and then it was like we're just sitting around shooting the breeze, and he was super cool about it. All right, look. Before we get back into topics, and we'll rewind as well because we do have some stuff to do. Tomorrow on the program, we could not be more loaded with stuff. It's a little bit later on. It's Duke Day, so we'll have Jalen Stinson, a safety from Duke. Also, Manny Diaz will be on the program tomorrow. Our friend Mike Felder from Bleacher Report will be here. Eddie Royal from ACC Network, who went to Virginia Tech. EJ Manuel, who we had to reschedule. He'll be with us tomorrow from Florida State. It'll be Dave Doran. Jordan Waters, who I spoke to last year when he was at Duke. It'll be a first for me. I have never spoken to somebody who was at a second college when I spoke to him the first time. Two of Carolina's three quarterbacks as well. So we got a lot of stuff. Gary Stokan also of the Peach Bowl will also be along. We got a lot of stuff to do tomorrow. So when Taylor sat down, I was going through the list of games that I believe will determine the two teams that will play in the ACC championship game in Charlotte. Week 4, NC State at Clemson. NC State's conference schedule is such where, like, straight up, let's just admit that any team can lose to anyone, especially on the road. There are no givens. There are no sure things. Even the best team, it's hard to imagine Florida State losing to, let's just say, a Stanford or a Boston College or a UVA. It's hard to imagine it. Frankly, I think BC will probably be a tougher out based on Bill O'Brien. But NC State has a schedule where it seems like, man, if they're not at least 6-2, something went wrong. That Clemson game, based on what team we expect Clemson to be, that is not a game that NC State can't win. And if the Wolfpack are able to pull that off in Death Valley, that really portends a team that can challenge for a top 2 spot in the league, which means you come back to Charlotte and they're going to play Tennessee in week 2 here at Bank of America Stadium. You play for the title. NC State should be – that's on the table for NC State. Does a lot have to go right? Of course. But it is not out of the realm of possibility. The next week, week 5, Virginia Tech, Miami. I think these are two teams that are, at least in terms of personnel, are really good, and it's probably a game where the loser is eliminated because they both have. Virginia Tech has an easier schedule the rest of the way. Remember, Miami still has to play Florida State. We'll get to that in a minute. But Virginia Tech, Miami in Week 5, to me, another one of those games that will determine the league. Week 6, Clemson, Florida State. And this is where Florida State's that's the game for Florida State. The toughest game of the year for the Seminoles, but it's in Tallahassee. Week 9, Florida State, Miami. Again, speaking to Miami in Coral Gables. Actually, it's at Hard Rock Stadium. I guess it's not in Coral Gables. But at Hard Rock Stadium. And this is maybe the most difficult road game in conference, definitely the most difficult road game in conference play for Florida State. Florida State at Miami in Week 9 and Clemson, Virginia Tech in Week 11 because the Tigers, maybe they've got just the one, maybe they just have one loss. Maybe they beat NC State in Week 4. They lose at Tallahassee. I don't think we're going to have 2 undefeated teams in ACC play because there isn't a full overlap of schedules. But Clemson at Virginia Tech, because we think the Hokies are going to be good. This is Week 11, late in the season. I'll guarantee you right now that's a prime time game. That could be for Clemson playing for a spot in Charlotte. Like the ACC's especially, and we've been talking about this for years, the football brands being good. How different does the ACC television package look? And I'm not blaming anybody. Every program goes through valleys. Every single program. There's like 3 football programs in the country that haven't gone through not losing valleys, but mediocre valleys. Hell, Alabama went through a mediocre valley. Georgia went through that. Every program does it. Actually, there might only be one. That could be Ohio State. They seem to always win 10 games. And certainly over the last decade or so with Alabama, yes. But before then, I remember the Shula days at Alabama, where they had some pretty average seasons. But if the ACC had Florida State still operating at a high level, Virginia Tech still operating at a high level, a better version of schools like Georgia Tech, North Carolina, and NC State, right, being better. And these are not football brands, but if the football brands had been better back when the ACC was going through the negotiations with ESPN and all of that, does the television contract look any different? Because I think the answer is yes. The ACC would have been dealing from a position of strength. You know, we talked about the perception of the league and all of that, and how the ACC has been fighting that. And the reason why Florida State and or Clemson are trying to litigate their way out is because of this bad TV deal. But nobody called it a bad deal when it was signed. I mentioned this yesterday. It's revisionist history to say anything other than, well, it hasn't turned out to be great. Right? That's the best way. That's the honest way of having this discussion. That it has turned out to be not a great deal. Not so much because of the money, but if the deal ended in 30 or 28, if the deal ended then, let's say 28, that kind of splits the difference of where we are, and the opt-in for ESPN is 27. If the deal was up, in 3 years, well, then the ACC could go back to the table and get a significantly higher number than they're getting today. Would it be SEC or Big Ten money? No. But it would be closer. And it would be, but unfortunately, we're sitting here until 2036. And again, by 2036, and I would say maybe even by 2026, we're going to see an entirely different landscape of college football. So that's why this deal has turned out to be bad, because it is so long. But at the time, go back and read how people talked about this then. And it was almost exclusively about this creates stability. It creates stability for the schools. It creates stability for your TV partner, ESPN. It was not looked at like, oh, man, this is going to be a bargain at the end of it. That's not the way it was viewed. This was only viewed as a positive back then. And it came the second time they signed the grant of rights. It came with the promise of the ACC Network, which is creating pretty good amount of revenue for the league. We can debate all day whether the programming is great, but it is creating a good amount of revenue for the league. All right, so before we get to the rewind real quick, we did 5 games that I think will determine the race for the ACC championship game in Charlotte. Here's 5 games that are going to determine the narrative for the ACC this year. We'll start with Clemson and Georgia. This is week 1. By the way, Clemson is almost a 2-touchdown underdog to Georgia, partly because Georgia's a machine, and we still don't really know what we can expect from the Clemson Tigers. Love to see them keep this a low-scoring game, and as our friend Steve Logan likes to say, keep it close, win it late. Maybe they could do that. So it's really about, obviously you're trying to win the game, but what you would like to see first, be a good football game. Have Clemson not look overmatched. Because if they look overmatched, yes, it's Georgia, but now we already have a different narrative for the rest of the season with Clemson football. Number 2, also week 1, Miami and Florida. Hurricanes are a very slight favorite in a game in Gainesville, I believe. That's pretty important. That's pretty impressive. That might be a neutral site game. But Miami and Florida playing with the Hurricanes being a very slight favorite. Hey, we're going to find out early on whether or not to believe the hype with this Miami Hurricanes team. Yes, I am skeptical, because we all should be, based on what Miami has not done over the last few years. 3rd, Charlotte, Tennessee, and NC State. It's going to be fun. Last time Tennessee and NC State played in essentially not a preseason game, but a early season non-conference affair, it was in Atlanta, and that didn't go well. So, again, another game where we're going to watch and we're going to be able to determine, all right, I don't think Tennessee is what they were a year ago, but that is a great opportunity for NC State to make a mark, and the ACC will reap the benefits if NC State's able to do so. Florida State at Notre Dame. The reason I put this here is because what is Florida State when we get to that game? That's week 11. Florida State has already played Clemson. They've already played Miami. 2 of their tougher games, maybe their 2 toughest games on their schedule. And now they're going to South Bend to take on Notre Dame in week 11. And the final one is Louisville and Kentucky. Hasn't gone well for the Cardinals lately. Kentucky's been very good. Again, end of season. We're going to go into that last weekend, the weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, looking for maybe it's our last gasp at respectability. But to me, that's a barometer, because Louisville should be one of those football teams in the SEC, and Kentucky is like a bonus. It's sort of like how we look at Clemson is supposed to be one of those teams, and anything the SEC gets out of South Carolina, gravy. Anyway, there's a lot of good games. Those are the 5 I chose to shape the narrative of ACC football. It's time for a rewind. All right, the reason the Atlantic Coast Conference turns a profit is Wes Durham. He is the voice of the ACC, also ESPN college football. He'll work with Tom Luginbill this year. So he and I were talking about the away from football stuff, the Florida State dynamic, the litigation. So competitively speaking, there isn't a better place for Florida State and Clemson than right where they are. Why couldn't Florida State and Clemson and any other school, why couldn't they just enhance their bottom line? Now, I'm not suggesting that you'd have to do it through private equity, but at least find another way to bridge that gap internally rather than go through everything to try to leave the league and honestly look embarrassed. And I asked him if I was thinking about this in too much of a simplistic way.
You are thinking of it, and by the way, Florida State and Clemson are not the only schools in that category.
Right.
They just happen to be involved in litigation about potentially the conference they're in.
Right.
There are other schools. Now, I do know this from talking to some people who dabble in that industry, that there are schools who are looking at PE to bail them into survival.
Right.
Rather than
especially with House.
They go to extinction, they want to bail into survival, not bail out into extinction. That's where private equity, I think, is going to become common ground. However, structure of institution, structure of athletic department, structure of a lot of things has things to do with how private equity gets handled. Like, some places you're going to have to put on steel gloves. Some places you can put on rubber gloves to handle that private equity.
Right.
People don't understand. They think private equity is Daddy Warbucks comes along, strikes a check, and hands it to you. No, then when he strikes the check and hands it to you, he's essentially telling you, I'm now your boss.
Right. Jim Phillips said, nothing is for free. That was his answer to the private equity question.
It's the best answer, too. Nothing is for free.
Yep.
And I don't think – and look, take a look at who else is investigating private – if the ACC went for private equity as a conference, and see, Brett Yormark floated that idea.
And Brett Yormark
is my man. I mean,
he's entertaining.
Yeah, but he is exactly what they wanted. Marketing, sales, promotion.
Yeah.
And he's good at it.
Right.
And he's very good at it. But is he selling me the, Mercedes-Benz or is he selling me the Ford Granada?
Yeah.
That Ricardo Montalban, the genuine Corinthian leather. The
I have a Hyundai Santa Cruz. I call it a modern-day El Camino. He could be selling the El Camino, which is in its day was pretty sweet.
It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out, Adam, because as you and I have talked about for years, we keep creeping and creeping and creeping to the edge of where all what we know in college athletics goes away.
I think football separates from everything, and that's where we're headed.
I don't disagree with you.
That's part of our conversation with Wes Durham, which you can get the entirety of on YouTube. I'm going to talk to Manny Diaz in a little bit, and we'll air that tomorrow. And I'm going to ask him the question that Wes and I talked about, in that how is Manny Diaz different now than when he took over at Miami? Gosh, not that long ago.
I asked him that in the spring. We had to sit down in the spring, and I talked about what.
Maybe I stole it from you. It's very possible.
No, I asked we were there to do the spring, and I asked the same question in the spring. What is it about now that's different when you got Miami? And he said it would be foolish of me not to take lessons and experiences from Miami and to a degree his 2 years at Penn State, and not put them into play coming back to Coach Duke. I think he's got number one. I thought he did a really good job with his staff. I thought the continuity pieces and the guys he was able to kind of bring in and their experiences, some connectivity directly to him, some indirect connectivity. Patke and Brewer, the two coordinators, fit that kind of bill. Look, I'm pretty excited about him, but I think he's also the realist about where this is.
Sure.
And, look, they went and got a real quarterback in the portal. That guy's a real quarterback, okay? And he's got a cannon for an arm. But it's going to take a collaborative effort of Duke. I think they're actually, and this is credit to Mike Elko and the momentum. And that's the other thing, by the way, that impressed me about Manny. He respects the work Mike Elko put in there in 2 years. And
Elko did a good job.
He did. And embraces a lot about what it is and knows that he benefits from that work now in a way where some of the heavy lifting Mike did, Manny may not have to lift as heavy an item.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that we're there. My biggest concern about them is they were light in the offensive line in the spring.
Right.
I thought they recovered from some of the portal guys defensively. I like really who they are. I love Trey Freeman at linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge fan. I like Stinson and Rivers in the secondary.
Yeah.
Jordan Moore is an underrated star nationally.
What a good player.
Yeah, good player. I really like Dalmolin coming back to football.
Uh-huh.
And I think Jaquez Moore can have a nice year running the ball. But I want to be careful with this. I don't want to I don't want to say 2 and I don't want to say 7, right? I want to kind of watch it unfold. I hope Murphy stays healthy. I hope that Duke stays healthy across the board because I think if they're healthy, I think they just add to the depth. In the bigger picture, I think it's probably 2 years away.
Sure.
But I think that he capitalizes on some stuff here early. And I can't say enough about the support the institution has now put into that product as a result of what happened the last 2 years.
I know they have new locker rooms over at the Yo Center. They were very proud of that.
Yeah, they should be.
Yeah, it's a new era at Duke, and hopefully they can kind of pick up where Mike Elko left off. And I know there were some hard feelings, but I've said this about Duke for a long time, is that you shouldn't be looking for a forever coaching hire. If you're doing it right, Duke's getting a new head coach every few years. Every 3 years, every 4 years, if you hire correctly, then you're hiring somebody with energy who can recruit, who can win games, and becomes attractive to the next program. And that's just what it should be. You should never be looking for a forever hire at Duke. All right, Tom Luginbill. This will be our I'm not even sure we have time for Tom Luginbill, so we don't. But you can get Tom Luginbill, Wes Durham, Eric McLean, all of this on our Best of podcast feed. You can watch him live at the Best of the Adam Gold Show on YouTube, or just download the podcast, the Best of the Adam Gold Show. So North Carolina, I know it's football kickoff. North Carolina released their non-conference basketball schedule for this upcoming season. And the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because it's awesome. It is super difficult. Yes, there are always going to be some easier games. And they play Elon. That's their non-conference opener on November 4th at the Smith Center. They play a sprinkle in the likes of American and LaSalle and Campbell. But how about this? At Kansas, at Allen Fieldhouse, first time since 1960 that the Tar Heels will play at Kansas. Kansas has never played, I believe, at the Smith Center. They will return this game next year. But November 8th, Carolina is at Kansas. They play in the Maui Invitational with the likes of UConn out there. Don't know if Carolina and UConn are matched up. They won't be matched up probably until the final, but potential. And North Carolina is a 4-time champion of the Maui Invitational. And it's, by the way, back on Maui after being in Honolulu last year because of the Maui devastating wildfires. And remember, the Maui Invitational was also in Asheville at one point during the pandemic, before nobody was getting on planes anymore. And that's really the best way to get to Hawaii. Before the Maui Invitational, they'll play at Hawaii. So it's a road game at Hawaii. Then they come back from the Maui Invitational. They play Alabama at home in the ACC SEC Challenge, third time in 2 years, right? They played Alabama, or third time in 3 years. December 17th against Florida in the Jumpman Invitational in Charlotte. And then December 21st, just before Christmas, they will be at Madison Square Garden to take on UCLA in the CBS Sports Classic. That's a healthy basketball season. One thing to pass on, and this, of course, is they're honoring. We do this. We honor those who have passed, and so this is circulating here at ACC Football in loving memory Frosted Strawberry Pop-Tart.
What?
Friend and edible mascot, 12/28/2003 to 12/28/2003. Please join us in taking a moment to celebrate the life of edible mascot Frosted Strawberry. May they be remembered for their love of life, their delicious jammy filling, and their dreams of being eaten coming true. Though they now rest in crumbs, their life's work will continue this year. See everybody tomorrow.